This video is sponsored by Wildlife Command Center Coffee. More about them at the end of the video. Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and I am back with another One Filmmaker, One Film, and today my guest is...
Richard Mogg from Rickmo Productions.
And you are here today to talk about this movie here, Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, No More Tears, which is a fine film. This is actually one of the newer ones, right? Or this is it's the only version of it, but you're kind of re-releasing all your stuff and it looks more like this. It's more updated.
Absolutely, John. That's true. I had a lot of stuff out already that was with different distributors. Long story short is they reverted back to me for the rights and I put them all out again in remastered Rickmo editions. And that one in there is the Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, which was a premiere release for us. We hadn't had a prior release to that at all. So yes, that's a new one.
And you are and I've mentioned this to you before, like a bucket list director for me to have on this show, to be in one of your films, to be part of it. And so I have a very tiny role, which which to me is gigantic, in Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, No More Tears. So I want to thank you for that. And there are certain directors that I feel that I must work with, even if I have to pry my way in there and get in, so I could say that I've been in one of their films because I enjoy their work so much. And you're one of those guys. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of that.
Yeah, I am honored. And John, I'm thankful for you because, man, honestly, the way you shot that was tenfold the way I was hoping it would be and better, because you had that whole pistol up cocked and everything. And I loved everything you did. And I'm honored you were in that movie. And I'm going to have you in another one for sure. So don't be thinking it's over.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was channeling my inner John Milius. So, yeah. I mean, he always was around with a gun, with a cigar in his mouth, and like the military stuff. And he kind of fell into his own creation, where people said before it was like back in the 70s, it ended up being fake. But by the time he did Red Dawn, it was pretty much his personality.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I like to do, and I've started to do, well, I keep saying I've started to do this, but I've been doing it now for the last few filmmakers that are on here, is show off my collection. And like I mentioned to you, your collection is quite large. So,
well, yeah,
stand up. It came out weird.
I'll stand up and show it to you, but I know that's cool, man. Don't worry. You're right. Right behind me, there's it's only the DVDs and videos, and it's the whole like damn wall of this room. But the Blu-rays are downstairs. Yeah, I love physical media. You know, I've been collecting it for decades, and the Laserdisc and Beta is over in the closet. So,
man, yeah. I'd asked you before we started. I said, "Is that wallpaper or is that your collection?" And because it's quite huge.
Well,
I mean, yeah, it's there. There he proves it. It's not wallpaper.
That's my sealed copy of Critters 3 there. Factory sealed.
Wow. Never opened.
In fact, wow, I grabbed them just by chance. But look, there's my factory seals of Critters and Critters 2. And if you can tell by me holding them up a little bit better, whoa, they're sliding around. They even have the price on them. Look at those prices.
Wow.
$79.95, and was that?
That is huge.
Incredible, huh?
Why is that so much?
Well, that's how much you had to pay for brand new movies. You know, I mean, they didn't come out at $20 a pop, not right away. So, so these are my sealed copies. Anyway, I just grabbed them by chance, but hey,
yeah, man, that is an impressive collection there. So that's you've almost made as many movies as you have on that back shelf.
I wouldn't say that, but thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, are they all
that bad? Are they all that bad?
Oh no, your stuff isn't bad. Now, to be honest, but before I really discovered who you were, I did watch, and I'll pull it out here because I have it right here. Oh, good. I just happened right to land on it. I did happen to watch Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare. And I got
Oh,
this
yeah.
because I thought, oh, okay, it's like Slumber Party Massacre or one of those films. And it can, this,
Right,
like I
yeah.
said, this is before I knew who you really were, what type of filmmaker you were. And I'm like, wow, this is, he's using a drill, but there's no drill bit. This is confusing to me. And I didn't understand how you made movies at the time. Now I love it. Now I think it's genius. But back then I'm like, I am so confused. Why isn't it just going, why is he using a drill just going into a fake head? This is bizarre to me.
Yeah.
But it's,
Drew
now
Marvick,
I love it.
Thank you so much. Drew Marvick from Pool Party Massacre, he saw it and he realized, yeah, the killer never plugs in his drill. He's walking around and the cable's just dangling, you know. So.
Well, yeah, because in Pool Party Massacre, we actually see him plug his drill into the wall. So
that's right. Yeah, he says that. He says it in the commentary because I had to make a point to show them plugging it in. So
yeah. So but now I get it. Now I love it. And now I look forward, to your films. And I just got in the mail the other day, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm going to watch it later on tonight. Your newest film, which has a very interesting title. What is that title?
Well, it is released as Hot Chicks Blast Uranus.
Yes.
That wasn't the title we shot it with, but that's the title it's released with.
Oh, what title did you release it with?
Well, no, that's the release title, but the one we shot with was something. It was very, very, it was how do you say? It was much more interesting to the actors involved, so they felt good about being in the movie. It was called Candy Pickles and the Alien Invaders.
Okay,
and with a fairly sci-fi but yet funny sounding title like that, they were all like, "Yeah, let's be in that movie." But if I had said to them in the beginning, "Yeah, guys, it's called Hot Chicks Blast Uranus," I'm sure I would not have got the cast I got.
or a whole different type of cast. You might have had strip clubs and adult movies, maybe.
There you go. That's where it's going.
Well, and I'm excited to watch it. So, because I had myself a festival of your films. So I rewatched Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, No More Tears. I watched Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend. And I didn't have to watch, like I told you, I didn't have to watch the first Easter Bunny Bloodbath because I've seen it like 4 times. I watch it every Easter. Right. And now the short film, I want to get that title right. Tell me the short film that I mentioned to you that is part of that.
Oh, yeah, that was something at the Dojo Deli.
Well, I got it right here. So let's see. See if I could follow it. Oh yeah, I got it right here. It is. I didn't want to say the title wrong. So, Toxic Invaders at the Dojo Deli.
There you go. Yeah, and it was pretty much after I realized. I'm pretty sure the timing was around the same, and that we were planning in pre-production with the Hot Chicks movie, where I said if we're not going to use this Candy Pickles title, the Alien Invaders thing was the Toxic Invaders, and it all came together. Could use something somewhere else, kind of a deal.
Right, and you kind of have to see all 4 of those films to really get the full Richard universe.
Thank you. And John, you're a good example. Your brains won't melt through your ears if you watch those movies. Don't die from too much exposure. You're living and you're okay. So yeah.
No, I think that you're kind of a film school on a Blu-ray or DVD, because it really is like I mentioned, having a drill without the drill bit. Well, how do you get by not making a fake head and using the person's real head? Well, you take the drill bit out, but you still have the sound of the drill.
Yeah.
And then you have it up against them, and then you see them dead on the ground with some blood on their head. Like, if people watch your movies, you really kind of get around a lot of that stuff. And I think it's very helpful for people because, like at one point in Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend, which is a great title, you have 3 characters that are looking down at a body. The body is totally normal, But the way they describe it is the head's missing. The intestines are everywhere. Limbs were thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
You don't show any of that. That's a way of getting around it, is you just shoot the actors from down below and having them say what they see.
Oh yeah. And it's not, I mean, it's not 100% just my idea. The actors are contributing too. So like somebody will throw in a line about, oh, his brains are out. And we're like, yeah, let's do more of that. Let's really emphasize this. So it's collaborative, you know, but yeah, that's our film. So.
Yeah, I think that you should definitely, you know, do like a documentary on yourself or something, like how to make films, you know, your way.
Yeah.
Actually,
you're hitting on something, John, because that is our upcoming project. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Nice. Yeah. Yes, I want to hear more about that. Well, okay. So let me get into what I have from you, because I'm going to start with a poster and I'm going to try to get this. So this is, I learned about SRS a while back, and I'm going to be honest, when I was younger, we're talking when VHS was still around, I would not watch one of your movies if you paid me. If it didn't say Warner Brothers on it, if it didn't say 20th Century Fox or Paramount and had like a $60 million budget, I'm not going to watch it. And so I never watched any of these movies until maybe starting 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So a lot of this stuff was still brand new to me. And I was an idiot back then. I was stupid. Because I missed a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
And so one of the first people that I, you know, was Ron Bonk, and I started buying a lot of his stuff and other filmmakers. So one of the very first things I bought from him, and it was the Blu-ray and VHS, and I got a poster, was Easter Bunny Bloodbath. I said, I have to own this film. Wow. I think I watched the trailer and said, I got to own this. And I got from him, you know, I got the poster. If I can get it in front of me. There we go. Which I absolutely love this poster. Yeah. And so, please.
Ron Bonk himself, instead of having the artist that he has on file to start working on artwork, he was short-timed on that. So he took some pictures I already had from set, and he worked on it a bit, the blood effect, the glowing eye, all that. I think that was Ron's hand himself doing that. The actual axe cleaver and there was meant to be intended a bunny arm, but I did it for him. He asked, hey, can you take pictures of your hand in that bunny suit again, and I can use that to composite with the other bunny head? But I couldn't get the lighting just right. It was always tilted the wrong way. So instead I had a shot of me holding the cleaver, so he throws that up in there.
I love this poster. I think it's one of the best ones that he has brought out. And I remember I saw something online, and I reached out to you. And of course, this is before we knew each other. And I said, do you have this booklet? And you were like, no, I don't have any more of these booklets, but you sent me a PDF. Then one day in the mail, this showed up.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Try to get, and I was like, oh my God, he sent it to me. And it's for the first film. It's a press booklet. There it is.
Yeah, I remember them, but they're like, for me, they're like 13 years at least, you know?
Yeah. And I was so thankful, because it's like, you know, I liked the PDF, which was great, but just magically this show, it might have shown up with, if I ordered like one of your other movies, it might have shown up in that. So this
initially, I did send them out on the initial sales for something, or it was maybe Ron Bonk himself had asked me, do you have any more of these lying around? And I had like maybe 20 at most, you know. So they came only from the initial very first run,
which was different, right? There was originally a different VHS version, right? That came out, and then there was the Ron Bonk one.
Yeah, I don't want to knock this computer over, but I do have I'll try to grab it in a second, but it's the original VHS box. I had them in the very beginning. They were just individually sold like eBay, and I was just self-distributing it, and it was on VHS. That was it. And that's the original. In fact, that has an older cut, an early cut of the movie on it. It's not really too different, but it has maybe like just the timing is different. There might be a bit more shots of the water slides, something like that.
Hopefully more rapping. Rapping.
And the end of the movie is different. There's rapping, but there's no more Ranger shooting his gun. In the early cut, he doesn't shoot his gun. He just gives him that weird look, and then it cuts to the house, and that's the end of the movie instead.
Oh, okay. Oh, and I just noticed
It's really,
you signed this too. It's right there.
oh, hey, look at that, John. I don't want to say it's a collector's item, but you know, try
It
not to
is.
put it in the bathroom to use for extra toilet paper.
Oh, this is actually in I have a container that has everything that I want to make sure my cats don't eat. And this is one of them. That's why it still looks brand new. Is I just fold it and put it in like a little area in the box so it never gets messed up. Because that means something to me. Because I asked you for it, you didn't have it, and then
Right.
one day it showed up. I was like, this guy's really cool. You know, I want to support him. He sent me something that he could have just went, why bother? Yeah. And then next, so then this is what I got from SRS Video along with that poster. Is Easter Bunny Bloodbath on Blu-ray.
Blu-ray, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
No. And it's a good Blu-ray too. So
yeah.
Yeah, and this has on it full-length audio commentary, behind the scenes footage, trailers, and more.
Right.
So
the and more is the hook. No.
Okay. Oh,
you got to hook something. Yeah.
That's true. I do and more now myself. This might be the very first indie film Blu-ray that I've ever purchased. I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I think so.
I'm still shocked that it came to Blu-ray. I mean, Ron Bonk's his marketing model is really fantastic. The way he does push out like limited sales of VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray before it hits the national wide release of, you know, just DVD or something. So he does have it marketed to the fans. And yeah, I was really amazed when he said we'll put out a Blu too, and I was like jaw dropped. We was shot HD though, so I did understand, but I was thinking, oh man, that's something, you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did he have DVD?
Well, he initially he did. He has the first release I got from him was like I got an early print run that he sent out, and indeed it has the same artwork on the front, the same bunny with the eye and everything, and it came out DVD. But I'm pretty sure after those three formats came, he had just a regular release that was not limited on Amazon, like maybe a few months after the national first release. So and that's what his usual marketing is. He does the early limited releases, and that's where perhaps you get like the most profit back for investments and paying off whatever clearances you had to do. And then after that fact, like a few months down the road, there'll be more of a general release put out to Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, I think he might have been the first guy that I was collecting the VHS on, because I know I have a few from him. And then I started collecting this stuff from David Sterling, I think, after that. So most of my newer VHS stuff, not the vintage VHS, but the newer stuff is probably from Ron Bonk and David Sterling. Because that's, yeah, so then that would be this, which is giant.
Yeah, nice clamshell on that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
I barely open it. I don't want to play it. I don't want it to get broken in my machine. So it's still got that eek sound when you open it up. Like it's right off, you know, right out of the factory. So, yeah.
And I got to say, all of that goes to Ron Bonk. Credit to him. SRS Cinemas and Sub Rosa Studios. He's got it. I mean, he's like one of the old dogs that was making movies and releasing them in the early 90s, mid 90s, and he's still putting stuff out. And that's why he has his mind on knowing what fans are interested in. So yeah, all the efforts of putting out VHS, the DVD, the Blu-ray, it's got to go credit to Ron. He really was just fantastic. And he still is, you know, he's a resource. So.
Yeah, he's bringing out some interesting stuff. So, you know, unfortunately, his stuff is a little pricey for me. So I have to wait till he does a sale. And then I'll pick up like two or three things from him. So, and then that brings us
pricey. I'm in Canada, so everything costs even more. The shipping, the exchange.
I can imagine. I mean, I've sent stuff up to Canada, and it's not cheap, and it takes like a month to get up there.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Yeah, for sure.
And then we have now. I wanted to get this on DVD because this is one of your re-release ones for Easter Bunny Bloodbath.
Oh, so yeah,
now it's like VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray.
Yes. Now that one there, I can attest is not only just remastered in terms of like what I was trying to do with the sound quality and everything else, but I had an on the Ron Bonk SRS release, I had an intro of me talking, really crappy version of me standing in front of a green screen that didn't green screen, and I cut that out of this release because you didn't need me talking about it. It has more of me in the commentaries if you want that, but that is the definitive Rick Mo edition right there, and a personalized note in the liner notes.
Yeah, yeah, right there we go.
Yeah, and it's
And
from
then,
the heart. That's the thing. Those releases are right, straight from my heart.
well,
Um,
that's something I could tell from you is that you're just not making films to just make films, is that you care about each one. You can really see
Oh, I
that on
could get
screen.
into that. I was waiting for the right question for it, but I can tell you right now, just as a tidbit, every film is about the experience, and it's honestly about love. Like that's it, man. It's making movies for the love of movies. And I work with the actors because we love it so much, we enjoy it so much, and sharing with that. So it's about the love. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. And where this version, it looks like it has one audio commentary. This one
Yeah.
now has two.
Yes. Well, when I did the remastered versions, and I went through all the films, we improved the sound, we did better encodes of the video, but I added brand new commentaries to every single film. So most releases have two commentaries at least. The ones there's the Easter Bunny 2 and Hot Chicks because I had not released them prior, so they only have the one brand new commentary on them. But
Yeah,
other than
and
that, there's double dose of me. You can get sick of my voice if you like.
well, and you do good audio commentary, and I like when directors do that. Is that they do like mini film schools for audio
Yes, yeah.
commentaries, and
Well, I learned from Mark Polonia and John Polonia and the way they did their feeders commentaries and stuff. Self-depreciating. You get the actors in there if you can. All that fun stuff.
yeah, you gotta make fun of yourself a little bit. Otherwise, it's way too serious. So it's
Yeah,
what one of the two best audio commentaries I've heard. Well, actually, I'll say three. John Carpenter with Halloween, where he tells you like at the
yeah,
beginning of the film where you could see, with Michael's the little kid, you could see a puff of smoke go past the camera lens, and he's like,
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
director smoking on the set. And he makes
I
fun of
let that
himself
get
with,
in there.
yeah. And then
Yeah,
Dinosaur Island with Jim Wynorski and Fred Olen Ray, funniest
yeah,
commentary I've ever heard. And
yeah.
it's like a little mini film school from both of them. And
Right.
oddly enough, Ridley Scott on Hannibal, because you can hear
Really?
him. Yeah, they obviously brought him like a little tray of snacks, like maybe one of those like veggie, like platters. So you can hear him
Yeah,
eating while he's doing the audio commentary. He's obviously smoking a
yeah.
cigar because you can hear that. And he just talks about the movie. And it's hilarious because he'll be like, yeah, that's the day we went to chomp, chomp, chomp. The katina, and it's great. And I think it's really good. Not all of his are like that, but those are like some of the best ones I've heard. And independent filmmakers do really good one. Yeah, the Polonia brothers did really good ones. Mark still does. You do really good ones. I love audio commentary when I hear it. So
Yeah.
some of them are really boring. Like you have to keep people on track. It seems like they don't talk for
Well, that's
20
it.
minutes. It's like,
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
some of the like you and I might even know some of the people we're listening to talk, and you think like in general they speak a lot faster than this. They talk more. They're open. So sometimes you wonder like maybe they just got nervous with the mic in front of them or something. And but yeah, I get that feeling sometimes. You want them to loosen up a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, give them some beer. So, something like that,
Yeah.
or a good shot, would might
Yeah.
help. So now I think I got all your films in order here. I looked on IMDb because I wanted to make sure I did them in order. I'm missing two, but I
Okay.
have them. So the short film, the Dojo Bingo is on another one, but I
Oh,
have that here.
yeah.
And then
Okay.
there's a trailer on another one, which of course the trailer's on yours. So I don't know if I need to pick those up because I already have the stuff. So technically I'm only missing two DVDs or maybe not. But the next one I have, and this is all old school, and I do plan on buying the new versions because I like what you've done with them. But I just felt I had to support. So over the years, I've supported. Now we have Bangin' Vengeance.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, John, I'll send you the new one, man. You don't have to buy that. I'll send you the new one. But yes, Bang. That is the second feature we did. The second one. It came right after we had finished and shot Easter Bunny, and this was released the very next year. Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah. I
funny.
got a lot of
That's pretty funny.
production photos, and that's the main actress in the movie. Because after we shot this movie, in fact, it was right after we shot the sex scene in the movie. I said to her, "I want to get some really good stills." And I need to, can we shoot your breasts, really? And then she looked at me and I said, you'll have the bra on. That's okay. And then it was all right. And I remember I dribbled the blood on her. We actually were doing it in her kitchen at the time. So she's standing there or not their kitchen. Sorry. It was somewhere in her house, but I had this whole thing of blood and I was able to just delicately dribble it on, and then it ran a bit and it looked perfect.
It does look good. It does look good. I like that. And then
the Rickmo remastered version, the cover art is the original poster art I had for that movie, and in my opinion, it's the better shot of that bloody bust. It's kind of off on the side, and I think it really does make the film like that's the image I really like. But to each their own.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of these are the SRS versions because I bought them when they originally came out. So
yeah, and I don't have input on really the artwork. I can suggest things, but Ron had his artwork guys online. On the pay raise, and he would take care of all the art they were doing for releases. He had Devin Whitehead on there for a long time.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, I like him.
He's fantastic. Friday the 13th set. I mean, you can name the releases that are just stringing out of this guy. His artwork is fantastic. He did Massage Parlor and Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare there. So.
Oh, nice. I used to just buy his posters. I may not even own the movie. But if I saw on SRS, like they were selling the poster, I would buy it because I liked his art. I friend him on Facebook and I've talked to him a couple times, just letting him know, I think your art's awesome, So, because you could kind of tell the difference here. Like this is the one that you did. And then this is the one that they did. So it is a little difference in, different in the styles on how these are done.
Yes.
So
I noticed that the SRS releases sometimes didn't say like the special features. They didn't list that sometimes if there was a commentary.
They're not on it. Yeah,
I really wanted to make an effort to do that, but then I forgot to put in the running time or the year of production on the back of the damn. So you win some, you lose some. What can you say?
Exactly. Well, and then the next one is one that we've brought up, which is the Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare.
Yeah,
so that's the next one. And then this is the artist that we're referring to.
I just realized I have this one too here.
Oh yeah, so that's the new one. That's the one that you released. This is the SRS.
That's right. That's the Rickmo version right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that the one you have is a much more beautiful artwork. Look at that fantastic artwork, and look at how crappy I did here. Look at
well, it has one of my favorite actors on the front. So.
Yeah, that's true. He is the king of Rickmo Productions.
You even quoted me on that, which I love. That you took my quote from what I told you. I sent you a private message, and I said I think he's one of my favorite actors. And the next thing I know, it's like up on Facebook, John Ward. And I'm like, oh, awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had random quotes about Kirk that are just so like insanely fun and like good quotes. I show him because he's not on Facebook anymore, but I always get the chance to like put it on my phone and I show it to him when I see him, and because he's not an actor, believe it or not, he's not a professional actor. So to get good feedback really does go a long way,
I look forward to everything he's in, but well, and especially with this, I'm like, is he supposed to be like H.G. Lewis, or is he supposed to maybe be like the guy from Blood Feast? Because he looks like him, or even the guy from Slumber Party Massacre. I'm like, did he find a guy that kind of looks like him?
Not on purpose. No, Kirk was always cast because of his acting abilities, and which you might argue are non-existent. But truthfully, it is his level of being able to uncomfortably improv was so attractive to me. I thought this guy is a star. The way he just delivers a line, stunted with pauses. I thought you can't even purposely do that. I mean, it's fantastic. So.
Yeah, I love how he wouldn't say like we need to go find it. He always goes, we need to go find Bigfoot. And then somebody will come up and go, what are you doing? We're going to find Bigfoot. And then 5 minutes later, somebody else would be like, hey, why are you guys out in the woods? We're here to find Bigfoot. He took my manhood. So he always says Bigfoot. He never just says like, we're here to find it, or we're here to find the creature. It's always, he says exactly what he's looking for. And he has his character loves chicken too, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. You got to have some visuals when you're doing a scene. But the whole thing about him constantly saying Bigfoot and saying what it is he's doing, that was my direction. I said, listen, Bigfoot was shot with no script. And that was the first time we'd ever really had no script. We had a treatment and that was it. And I kept saying to them, guys, this is an experiment, but we're going to improv it. So what I want you to do is think as your character. And I gave them the direction. I said, listen, whatever you're doing in this scene, you have to think about it. Does it make sense? And does it make sense to the audience? So if he's looking for Bigfoot, I want you to say, I'm looking for Bigfoot. If you're going up there and something, you say it. I need to go up there and look for something. And then the actors, they would have to make sense of what their motivation was because they had to state it. You know, they're always stating their motivation. And it worked. I thought it was fantastic.
It does. Well, yeah, I think it says on Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend, it says on the front, like written by like nothing, written by nobody.
Because we didn't write a script. Yeah. I had it in my back pocket in the woods. I had this little tiny notepad and I just had the scenes. I listed out the scenes because I had written like a 6 or 7 paged outline, just a treatment, very small, about every scene and what happens in the scene. And then I said, this is our chance. We can really like just go with the flow a bit. And they knew where the action was. They knew the beats. They knew when he pulls the gun and he does the double twist and, and all that stuff. But it was, how do we get to that moment? And I let them really just, if it makes sense to your character, it make it sense to us. So say it out loud, whatever it is.
So I guess, so in this case, I guess when they stumble or they talk over somebody else, or they start a line and then somebody else goes in and then they continue that line when they're done, all that stuff is okay. You don't mind it. You're not going to yell cut and then let's do it again.
Yeah, well, most of that stuff, thankfully, it didn't happen because half of that cast is fully trained actors. They're professionals. They've been in nice quality films. And then there's the sticklers who are just brand new, and I invited them to be part of this project and gave them lead parts, and then they don't know really what it is they're doing until we tell them exactly what it is we'd like them to do. So that was the problem, where sometimes you'd have people like actors talking over themselves. But thankfully, it didn't happen much. So when it did, we kept it in the master shots, and that we kept as the master. But the only other thing was there was one scene in Bigfoot specifically where we had a problem, and it was where the snake scene. And then after he stomps on the rope and says it's a snake, and then the girl he's with comes up. She's the one in the blue dress, real busty, good looking. She's a very common actor in Rick Mo Productions. Her name's Megan Kinsley. She's fantastic. But she's the one who I said to her, you're going to have to like make us understand why he's looking for Bigfoot so badly. You got to say to him, wait, stop, tell me, why are you doing this? Why are you looking for Bigfoot? So she does that. She does it right after the snake stomp. And that was purposely because I knew at this point, if the audience was not on board with what this fool with the camcorder, the Kung Fu kid, was doing, then we would not understand the movie as much. So that was purposeful. But everything else is we locked it pretty tight. We didn't let them talk over each other. And I had to tell Kirk that, especially because Kirk would start and oftentimes pause and wait for whoever else was still talking. But it became a quirk of just the way he performs. And then I started really welcoming that more and more as we went along. So yeah. It was a good, happy little accident, I guess you could say, that happened,
Will we ever get to see John Sarius? I believe
John Sarius.
John Sarius. Will we ever get to see his manhood removed? He talks about it.
Well, yes, I don't know how far I can jump ahead here, but I've been rolling around even before COVID happened. I was really focused on working on a film noir, and the noir would begin with as a black and white, of course, but it would be like an early prologue to the actual story, where John Sarius was sitting at a table, very fine, nice glasses, and as he's sitting there, sorry about that, he's a lounge singer. Beautiful woman. She's just singing this beautiful song, and she finishes. She comes and sits at the table with him, and they have this argument. It's about something trivial, but it's like whatever it is, you can tell they're lovers. And she gets up in a heat of passion and she just leaves. She goes, well, and I'm leaving. And he doesn't go after her until about a delayed few minutes, finishes his drink, looks around odd, and he finally goes, and she's missing. She's gone. She's just totally gone. And it's the mystery of what's happening in this movie. And yes, that film noir was going to reveal what happened to his penis. It would show Bigfoot actually at some point tearing that sucker off. But it wouldn't be graphic. It wouldn't be lewd. It would be, of course, it would be comical, you know, and lighthearted and fun. Always fun, you know. But that was the intention.
Well, all of the, you know, everybody seems to be putting in 100%. I don't see anybody in this being lazy. Everybody is taking this like it's 100% serious.
Wow. Thank you, John. I'm going to tell every cast I've ever had, man. That's fantastic.
It's true. I mean, it really is. I mean, when it's an emotional scene, they're emotional. You know, when they're supposed to be crazy, they're crazy. Nobody is just there going like, okay, yeah, I know what type of movie. Yeah, it's Bigfoot penis. Okay, let's, or it's about a killer Easter bunny.
Frankly, some of them do that, John. Some of them, they do it to me when I say, hey, are you up for another film? And they'll say, oh, it's going to be one of Richard's movies. But no one can. They don't do that, you know.
So they're like, oh, it's Richard calling again. More penises, more Bigfoot, more rabbits, more.
Yeah. Well, Megan Kinsley is the one that I know. She gave me a real, she had to think about it before she came into Hot Chicks. Again, this was Hot Chicks Blast Uranus is our third film in production. So we had done Easter Bunny Bloodbath and we had done Bang and Vengeance. And Megan was not involved in Bang and Vengeance. She plays Lisa, the main girlfriend in the first Easter Bunny movie, but she wasn't in Bangin'. All she did for Bangin' was she shot a teaser trailer with me where she basically just had shots of her boobs bouncing off of fences and doing push-ups with her boobs. You know, we had a lot of fun. That was that. So when I said to Megan, you know, I'd like you to be involved in this movie we're doing, Candy Pickles, and it's going to be like really wild, but it'll be aliens and puppets and stuff. And she had to think about it, man. She took like a day and a half before she committed. She said, I'm not sure. I really got to think. And I understand, you know, I'm not paying really anybody. I mean, I pay some very little, but very little. They have jobs, you know, and they need to work. I understand. So, but I also thought, well, you know, she probably wants to pursue an actual acting career. That's, you know, I mean, she's very talented. So I'm super lucky to get her in a movie, you know, and when I do, I want to be able to take advantage as much as I can of her time. And then when she did say yes to Bigfoot, that is what happened, where she committed to like an afternoon. She said, I'll come out for like the afternoon and I'll just shoot with this scene and maybe I'll be in this scene too. She has the script. Well, not a script, but she had the outline we were looking at. And then as soon as she got there and we shot the scene with her, I said, Megan, can you come with us to the woods? We're driving right now. We're going straight to the woods. And then she's in the rest of the goddamn movie until she finally gets killed, you know? So, yeah. That's the way we kind of, and we're friends too. So she knows if I'm pushing, it's probably for a good reason, you know? So, yeah.
But I mean, actors have to know at a certain point that if they're going to be in a certain filmmaker's movie, what it is. I mean, if it's a filmmaker that has all of his movies have nudity, like it's just boobs galore, and you accept a role, then you're probably going to be expected to show your boobs. If it's somebody maybe who does more snuff type stuff where it's like, you know, ultra gore, you're probably going to get blood thrown all over you. So if people come and say, I wasn't expecting Richard to do this. It's just like, have you seen his movies or even watched the trailer? You know, it's pretty obvious. I mean, you know, it's kind of weird, which will then, speaking of nudity and stuff, you know, which we're just moving on to a massage parlor. So, but I think nudity is a good segue. So then we have this here, Massage Parlor of Death.
The big hit. Yeah. The one that marked us on the big map. Yeah. Yeah, Massage Parlor of Death. It got right after we shot that thing, and I put together the first real rough cut, which was almost exactly the fine cut. I sent off a screener to Ron Bonk, and that was our initial release, was Massage Parlor. He loved it right off the bat, and that one went instantly into distribution. Uh, just fantastic. That was the first deal we had with Ron, and I had known Ron, of course, as just being a fan. I knew of him and all this stuff, but I did not know and speak with the man. I'm in Canada, so like, it's a little bit far away. But anyway, that was the first deal we did. And it sold I would say quite well. It was not a big, like, you're not going to live off of this royalties or nothing like this, but it did make a profit, instant profit, because the movie was so damn cheap to shoot. but the truth is, it was a great seller, and that immediately led into the other deals of Easter Bunny, Bloodbath, and then we did the other ones with him too, like Bang and Vengeance, Teenage Slumber Party, Nightmare, and they all sold very, very well. So it was really good.
Yeah, and this one he does list features, and this is what interested me. This is what interested me, because I've now done this with a couple of my films. So you might have been my inspiration for this. It's very possible. Bonus features, analog and HD versions of the film. And at the time when I got this, I'm like, analog? What is analog? What is that? What? And then I watched it, and it's like, oh, I know what he did. And since then, I've done that with a couple of my films where it's the analog and the HD version so people could see the difference. And I really appreciate that being on here. Once again, film school on a disc,
It's true. And I can't take all that credit for it, John. I can't, because that was Ron's idea to put both versions on the disc. We shot it HD. All of my films have been shot with the same HD camera. So it's a very nice high prosumer camera. It's like 1.5 feet long. It's a Sony Z1U, which is now discontinued. But all the films were shot with that. So the same camera that shot Bang and Vengeance is the same in Massage Parlor of Death. But the intention always was, we knew we would crop it to 4:3 and we would run it through a VCR. And we knew that because the aesthetic of analog video, especially a grungy old analog tape, was what that film needed. That was part of its whole essentially, it was a character in its own. It was part of the actual feeling of the movie. So when I sent Ron the first cut, which was that rough cut that was essentially the fine locked cut, he saw it in an HD manner first. And he said right away, he goes, why don't we try to release both? And I thought he couldn't do it on one disc. I thought, how you couldn't compress both into one disc, but the movie was only just over an hour. So it actually came out very, very well. So that is, again, Ron's idea was to put both versions on the same disc. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. And on top of the two versions, you also get feature-length audio commentary, the making of, and more.
Yeah, and more.
And more. There's an exclamation point at the end. I point that out in my other videos, that if there's an exclamation point, you have to say it louder. Yep. So it's the commentary making of Massage Parlor of Death and more.
And more. You got it.
So it's got to be out there.
And trailers, things like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it has that meat cleaver in it too.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think I remember I point that out in the making of too, but it was important to reuse that. Definitely. We had it there anyway, but we knew that it's distinct enough. And since we had shot Easter Bunny, I still had not seen that type of it's really like just a prop, Halloween toy prop. And I know you've tried to seek it out too, John, and you found it.
I found it. I ordered it online. I messaged you and I said, oh my God, is this it? And you're like, yes. I'm like, well, almost, guarantee that's it. And then I just happened to be walking around Zia Records, which is just right here in Vegas. It's only a few miles from me. And it was Halloween, and they had it hanging up, and it was like $10. Yeah. And I canceled the one immediately that I ordered online, bought it, and then sent you the photo going, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And I mean, if you don't mind me saying, Joe Lujan and I are planning to do Aximus meets Rust. So Aximus being Christmas, Rust being Halloween, and it's his own character that he's using, and my own Christmas character. And then I thought, wait, it'd be fun if we could get Easter into this. Yeah. So what if at the very end of the film, we have our two titans fighting together, and then all of a sudden you hear something like maybe in like a high-pitched voice going like, what are you bunch of pussies doing, or something like that, or fuck off, pussies. And then the camera turns, and there's the Easter Bunny from Easter Bunny Bloodbath holding that meat cleaver.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it sets up a whole thing of, okay, so now can we have Aximus meets Rust meets Easter Bunny Bloodbath? You know, and they keep making, and then, okay, now what other holiday could we fit in there? And soon enough, the title would be like that long.
Yeah, right.
But and thank you for agreeing to do that, because it's there's a costume store right out here that has that bunny suit.
Yeah, I'm shocked you got it. I remember when I purchased this, I did originally find it. It was in the States. It was somewhere closer to Bellingham at the time, but it was years ago. It was years before we shot even the movie. But it's a distinct meat cleaver, kind of hatchet butcher knife. The handle looks unique. It looks like it almost had nails that were nailed into the sides, but they're plastic. And then the coloring too. I remember, I think we did add some silver highlights to the actual edge with a spray can and stuff, just to make it gleam a little bit more. But then, of course, the blood gets on it too. So, yeah, I can't believe you found it, but I really am glad you did.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until today. It's like, crap, I should have gone by my storage unit yesterday and picked it up, because that's where it is. And then I'd have it here to show. But I'm going to give it to my effects artist, Miranda Dudley, and I'm going to have her watch the first, Easter Bunny Bloodbath and say, mimic that meat cleaver. I want it to look almost identical, slightly different to show that it's been used many times since then. So almost like there's like a part 3, a part 4, a part 5 that who's ever the Easter Bunny keeps using it over and over and over again. So now it's like a little messed up. And so so I think that should be fun. I told Joe about it, and he goes, well, I don't know Easter Bunny Bloodbath. So I said, watch the trailer. And he watched the trailer. He goes, "Oh, I'm down." He goes, "I'm down. No problem at all." So it's so that should be exciting. Hopefully, we'll do that this year if I get my butt going on things. So,
oh yeah, that's fantastic. And COVID is the one that keeps kicking everybody back. I mean, I would have shot something 2.5 years ago, but COVID really came, and so I had to sit down and just take a rest. And that actually worked out okay, because I wrote another book from it. So,
Well, and we're going to get to at least one of your books. So I got that right here. So, and then we go to one that we've been talking about, which is Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend.
Yes. And that is
with Lloyd Kaufman.
Yes. That is released from Gator Blade Films with Sean Donahue. Yeah. And then this one here is the Rick Mo remastered edition there. Bigfoot's a little bit in the darkness, but you still can read the tagline I added. If you go down the woods today, you better pack your gun.
See, I'm going to get that one too. I'm going to get all the new ones. I want to get all of them.
This one, again, this is actually, in terms of when I was re-encoding the film straight from where I had them, the original HD files. This is benefiting from that remaster. Initial on that release, I think it has a much more blockier encode. It's just not as tight. It's not, I don't even know. I'm fairly certain it's progressive. But it was just it was a really rushed encode. We were reaching a deadline, and I could have spent more time working with it too. And this one is a full new encode, and it's actually looking beautiful. So this benefits from the video quality enhancement there. But anyhow,
and there's Kurt, my favorite actor, there.
Well, right behind that, or below that butt, everyone points that out to me.
Oh yeah, that is a tight butt. Yes, that is.
I think Sean sometimes or Chris Woods, they put it up when they're trying to market the things. They put the butt right prime and center on things,
Well, and we got some cleavage going right there.
Yeah, there's some of that too. That's again Megan Kinsley, I mean, she was fantastic in there.
And Bigfoot, there's Bigfoot.
Yeah. And Bigfoot. Yeah.
I like chicken and sexy movies.
That is the happy mistake we had, the best mistake we ever had, because the character of John Sarius was written that since his dick was ripped off, he would only watch sexy movies. So he wouldn't watch anything else. He wouldn't watch Die Hard, Police Academy, nothing, unless it was like Basic Instinct or Sliver. He'd watch like a But when Kirk gave that delivery, he stumbles and he sounds like, I only watch sex in movies. So you got to imagine, what is he doing? Is he fast forwarding every movie just to get to the sex parts? It's fantastic, So
Yeah,
that was a happy mistake.
yeah, it's funny. Is the one guy asked him about movies. He goes, I don't know what that is. I only watch sexy movies.
But for
His
me, it
delivery
sounds
on
like he
stuff
says
is
sex in movie.
brilliant. Yeah, it does. He
Yeah, yeah.
cracks me up. And then how did you get
Yeah.
Lloyd?
Well, Lloyd, oh, that was great. He came to Vancouver, and he was doing a. He's a co-friend of another filmmaker guy that I know up here named Vince D'Amato, and Vince had been with or worked in some capacity with Troma. He went to Cannes with them at one point, so Vince had a relationship with Lloyd, and I've been a fan of Lloyd since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up with the
Oh, yeah.
Toxic Avenger and all this, and anyway, so when Vince told me, he said, "Hey, I got Lloyd coming up. We're going to do a Troma Fest. We're going to run like a couple Troma movies, and Lloyd's going to talk on stage with about like his how to make movies talk. Really, he does like this kind of class of how to make movies talk." And I was like down. I'm like, I'm there, no problem. And when I got there, first thing I did was I stood up. I mean, he was asking, like, people would ask questions, they put their hand up, and then Lloyd would say, yeah, yeah. And they would ask their question. Well, when I put my hand up and Lloyd goes, yeah, sure. I stood up, and to give him a real respect, I stood right up, and I said, well, I don't remember all the goofy things I said, but basically I said, I've got the Troma aroma. You've meant so much to me, man. The way you guys did the movies, the way you and Michael Hertz together, brought these things to be independent and taught us how to make movies. I've read your books, Lloyd. I said, all this stuff, I basically laid it on the floor. And I said, I just owe it to you, Lloyd. I mean, like, that's it. I make movies, because of the way you taught me, And then I sat down and like, Lloyd was like, oh my gosh, that's really, really like an honor to hear. And as soon as he got off the stage, he comes over, gives me a huge hug, takes out his business card. Like, he goes, I don't give this to anybody. And it's probably gives it to a lot of people, but it's just,
make you feel good,
Make you feel good. Absolutely. And it was just like, and then from that moment, we were just like, it was like common as if you just met the person and you knew them for a long time at the same time, and we were just like talking. He'd come back out. We would sit there and we were all drinking beer and he was having Pepsis and all this stuff. And I said, Lloyd, I just shooting this Bigfoot movie and I kind of got my camera here, and I'm thinking a little like maybe guerrilla style. We go out. What do you think, Lloyd? You interested? And he goes, oh, fuck, you're so nice, Richard. Shit, you're so polite. He goes, let's go. So we just went out and we started shooting right there on the back of the whole building and things. And we got a lot of stuff. I mean, then he went back inside and we shot some more. And then he finally got back to showing a couple movies. It was just fantastic. The whole deal was just great. So.
Well, and there's a connection because you had brought up Drew Marvick. And so when I mentioned that I shot my cameo for you, Drew then messed right underneath. He's just like, what about my cameo? When I'm going to see my cameo? And then I said, Drew, you have a cameo. And he's like, yeah, we shot one, but he hasn't brought it out yet.
Well, that's true. It was a few years after this we did with Lloyd for the Bigfoot movie where we were having another festival of some kind, and Vince put on Pool Party Massacre that had just come out, and I already had bought it from Drew. I was really excited to get this movie, and when I found out, of course, it was playing. I mean, I was already going to this thing regardless, but to know that Drew was coming down, I thought, oh shit, it's going to be like, this is fantastic. I had this really like much longer looking beard. It would look so ratty, John. It looked like a dead raccoon was hanging off my face. Anyway. Nothing like Drew's, but the fact was they were both long looking. So I said, this is it. When Drew gets here, it's going to be like the scene out of Predator. I'm going to go, you son of a bitch. And we're just going to get some arm wrestling or something. But anyway, that didn't happen. But yeah, Drew is a super nice guy. I mean,
oh yeah.
And we sat together and both watched the movie and laughed at all the same parts and everything, And when he was there, I did the same thing. I said, Drew, I got a camera here, man. I'd love to shoot you for a movie. And he's like, why didn't you ask me before? Let's do it. So like we did it right there in this place. We had the festival and Lloyd was there too again. So we got both of them in. And I don't want to give away all the secrets of what we shot, but it was intended for an action movie where there were lots of explosives, which I haven't released yet, but is shot. We shot it before COVID. It was going to be called Roller Coaster Kickback. And then I changed the title and thought, well, we should just call it Death Rides of Death, because death seemed to be a good word, use it twice. But anyway, the scene starts with Drew, and he's doing something on the phone. He's talking about the issues of these bombs that are put down somewhere and all this. And he's supposed to be in an airport. And right as he's talking, he bumps into, wouldn't you know it, Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is here. My God. And of course, it's not really Mel Brooks. It's Lloyd Kaufman. But Lloyd plays it. Lloyd plays it as Mel Brooks. And that I thought was so damn funny because when I first met Lloyd, he said this joke to me. He goes, "I'm Mel Brooks." I mean, wait, no, I'm not. And it stuck with me. I thought, damn, he looks like Mel Brooks. Shit, Lloyd, you should be Mel Brooks. So that's the cameo for these guys. And again, I haven't put it in the movie, or the movie's not released yet. It's just still sitting in the can. I have 2 features in the can that are not released yet. And the other one is being held because I really don't know what to do with it now. It was shot as something salacious, and I don't know. I'm kind of taking a second look at it now. So,
well, I mean, there's your title. I mean, if you could use your anus, then why not call it 2 movies in my can?
Oh, this one's salacious. It's salacious, yeah. But you're right. 2 movies in my can. That's a good one.
And it's interesting how everybody kind of functions within this kind of low budget indie film community, because like you shot a thing with Lloyd and Drew. In Vegas, Drew runs like his own little kind of like film festival. Every once in a while, something will play. And he showed Romeo and Juliet. And Lloyd was there. And so I got to meet Lloyd, but more as a fan, and took a picture with him. And there's Drew. So it's like, okay, you've worked with Drew, you've worked with Lloyd. I've met Lloyd. I've worked with Drew. I've now, you know me, I know you. So it's interesting how this circle or whatever you want to call it kind of works within everybody. And Lloyd's in, a different part of the country. Drew and I are in Las Vegas. You're in Canada. How would we all meet? How would all of this happen? It's just, you would think we would never meet.
Yeah. Well, I think too, like all of us. I mean, I'm turning 41 next month, and so I mean, I'm in the same age bracket as most people that knew Troma when they first started, and I think we all kind of have the same influences from that a little bit. Even guys like Kirk. I don't want to out the guy's age, but Kirk is 50. You wouldn't really. I think he plays a young teenager pretty great, but he has gray hair. I can't. But so this in general, I mean, even though there's between us two, there's a 10-year gap, we all still have the same basic understanding and the same influences. So it's not like we all like the same things, but I think with us, yourself and Drew and everybody, we have an influence of the same backgrounds. And the love just for making movies, and we might make them all different. A lot of people put a lot more focus and effort on the technical side that I don't really do, and I understand that, but it's just not the way I would do it, and that's definitely not the way I do it. Is not the way somebody else would do it. But we all sort of still come together and realize that in general, we're all just trying to tell stories and visually, and that's the way we're doing it.
Well, and speaking of being connected. You also have a short story on Frames of Fear.
Oh yeah. Is that one Format of the Dead? The short, I think.
Yes. It actually is. I want to say
it is. There's another one, Were Dog She-Wolf, that came out I think on the 3rd one. That's right. Yeah,
I got that one too. So this is Brad Twigg. And it's got some, a bunch of directors on it, Tony Newton, it's got Hayden Hall, it's got you, it's got Joe Sherlock. I mean, it's got a bunch of people on it, including, Brad Twigg and stuff. And then I have Aximus 1 is on Frames of Fear 2.
2, right, yeah.
So
I'm not in that one too, but yes.
Yeah, so this is also an early film that I saw, of you. And then from here, you then went on, and once again, this goes to, and this is a good anthology. Everybody on this is good. So I enjoy this one.
The host, and they should definitely check it out. Yeah,
he's on part 2 also. I'm not on part 3. Aximus 2 was going to go on part 3, but Brad chose to put it on to a different anthology.
Yes.
I kind of wish
I,
it did go on part three, but yeah.
I had almost the opposite, but the same story where Weird Dog was meant to be on Frames 2. And then he was thinking, I've got a lot of these campy kind of movies that aren't straight horror. Maybe we should hold those off till 3. And so that's what that happened, you know.
Yeah, and then you worked from there once again. The whole degrees thing. You have a short film from that you
Oh
put
yeah,
on from Dustin Ferguson. Let's see,
yeah,
that is from Tales from the Grave,
yes, yeah,
and you're on season 1. I'm
yeah.
on, I believe, season 2. That's where I put Skull Evil. What story of yours is on this one?
It's a deal's a deal, and I think that might be the 3rd episode on this one. And it has a lot of the Rick Mo actors in it, like Cheyenne Bayat, who was the lead in Easter Bunny, the first one. He's in there, and um, Jessica Hill. She was also in Easter Bunny. She plays the girl with the blonde hair and stuff. And there's a demon character. In fact, there's the demon right there. He's the one in the middle of the 3.
Oh, right there.
Yep,
Oh.
that's the one. Yeah, and that's by another actor who was not really an actor. He was a writer, Micah Reed, and I thought he did a really fantastic job. That short, the Deal's a Deal short, I had shot earlier than Dustin Ferguson was doing this series, and I had shot it. It was like in January of 2009, and I shot it. And the intention was it was going to be rolling into an anthology series, and we were ourselves going to be taking charge of making the anthology. So I would then have other filmmaker friends I knew from film school take charge of their own episodes. And together we would independently make our own, except nobody else was making episodes. We did. And my DP from that was the writer of a next one. And the intention was he would direct, but it all fell through. It didn't happen. So I had this 20-minute short where we were just sitting there going, oh, okay, well, I'm sure at some point something will happen to it. We just don't really know what to do with it right now. And then at that point, as soon as we had finished Deal's a Deal, it was immediately when I said, we got to make a feature. And that was Easter Bunny Bloodbath. But the Deal's a Deal one that we shot, that had 2 days of bad sound. And I recall this. And that was because so there was some sound issue where, I remember, because we're shooting on an HD cam and all the different connections and switches, it was not my DP's fault because I didn't double check it either. It was switched to internal mic. So we're getting onboard camera sound instead of the boom we were using, which made all hissy, terrible sounding sound. So that release of the version, I had to dub over all the dialogue. So I'm doing the demon's voice and I'm doing mostly Cheyenne Bayat's voice. And so I'm just doing character voices because I had to quickly get it ready and up to snuff to get it out for Dustin's, for the package of Tales from the Grave. But that's it. I mean, that was a deal where he basically had said, either do you want to shoot something or do you have something? And I indeed had something. And so he had a budget for it. And I said, yeah, sure, that's cool. I mean, we're not using it and what have you. So we let it go to the show. And I've had nothing ever since from it or back, and I don't expect to. And it's just out there, and that's good enough. That was the way it went. So
well, and it's interesting of who's on this because it kind of links up. It's just that. So there's like Brad Twigg, and then you have Todd Cook. You got John R. Walker, who's been in my stuff. Donald Farmer, and then Dustin has his own short on here. So yeah, I never expect if something goes into a short to ever make anything back from it. And that's one of the things that I go out of my way to say is then I still own my short. Yeah. If you're going to make all the money off of this, then I own my short and I can do whatever I want with it. I can't do whatever I want with this, but I could do whatever I want with my short, or pay me. Because all my money goes into the short.
Exactly. You gotta, and this is advice for anybody who's ever made a film or looking to distribute them, what have you. Read your contracts. Get with that. And I mean, you don't have to take things to lawyers, but that's the good advice. But really understand what it is you're signing. Make sure you understand the details, and that's advice for anybody. You don't expect to get paid. Don't expect to get royalties or even credit for some stuff unless it's in the contract. Really start reading that. And you're right, John. Some people they will blindly sign something and the film is completely out of their hands and they might not even realize it.
Right.
that can happen. So
well, and that's what I did with I have my own anthology coming out with different directors on it called Reign of Vibrant Screams, which now may be picked up by David Sterling possibly. We're talking, but yeah, I mean it's got like Ron Ford and Joe Sherlock, and there's a whole bunch of people on this, and I wrote into the release, you own your movie,
right?
But I own. Like you own your short, but I own the overall film itself. So you can make posters. You can make whatever versions of your short you want.
Yeah.
You can put it into festivals. You can release it on your own anthology or something if you want to. It's your movie. Yeah. I didn't give a dime to Joe Sherlock. He went out and made his own movie. So I think you own your own film. And you could do.
Good for you.
And so when I recently spoke to him, he goes, "Oh, I just did an extended cut of it that I'm going to put into festivals." And it's like, go for it. Yeah. It's your film.
It works back for you too, because the more exposure it gets, it leads people back to what your anthology was. I mean, it makes sense to me. You'd want it to be exposed, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. And then, still speaking of anthologies, so then that does bring us to Frames of Fear 3.
Yeah. 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 And there's a great shot on the back of that box of Kirk's face. If you turn,
he's right there. Look at all.
Yeah, the mad scientist. Yeah, he loves that shot.
Yeah, look at all crazy.
Yeah,
yeah, because for and this has multiple directors on it also, but it doesn't make it. It's not easy to read who's on this. I know, but Brad's on it. You're on it, but I'm not sure. I think even Dustin Ferguson has like a fake trailer on it, but I'm not. It's hard to see. It's really small of the other directors on it. But this was in delay for a little bit because I thought Axis 2 was going to go on it and we were still editing. Because it took us like a year to edit. And because my editor, Matt, was doing it for free. So I had to do it whenever he was available. His mortgage comes first. And then that's when Brad said, no, let's put it on something, let's put it on something else. And it's just like, okay. Yeah. It's fine, but I would have preferred to kind of stick with the Frames of Fear stuff, just out of tradition.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, I know when we did the Were-Dog She-Wolf, that's the one that I've got on there is the Were-Dog, and that one was shot and cut together real fast, and we had it out the gate like ready to go. And then when it was in Brad's hands, we knew it was sitting because he said, "I'm going to hold off till 3." So we just waited for a long time, and we just didn't worry about it, That's the thing about shorts. When you make them, you kind of figure that they're going to go into somebody else's hands, and they become part of an anthology. And, you're just happy for the exposure, really, because, that's just getting your work out there to other people. That's about it, really. But our short was, it was done with love. We really did have fun with it. Our main actress, it was Caitlin L. Yerkew. And she, don't worry, I didn't missay her real name. It is your. She plays the Were-Dog She-Wolf, and she's in a lot of our movies. She's in Easter Bunny 2 as the new Lisa and all this stuff. But I remember all the fun we had, and she like ate like chocolate cereal out of dog bowls and stuff, growled and ran around with blood in a sandwich and things like that. So it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being fun. So, and I did skip over Easter Bunny because I'm going to show that one last, but that came right before this one. And then
one thing I'll mention just about that Were-Dog She-Wolf before you let it go, the very end of our short is when Kirk, as the doctor, is chasing with this jewel. He's chasing the Were-Dog She-Wolf down the street, and she gets hit by a car, which is mirroring the beginning of the movie. It's the girl gets hit by a car, and Kirk, as the doctor, runs up and he's right in her face, and he knows what he's got to do. He's supposed to say, "No, no, no," and he does it the 3 or 4 times, which by now everyone's cracking up. We're trying not to laugh, but that was what he's supposed to do. And then he does it. He improv'd. He said, "Now I can't rule the world with evil bitches." And I'm cracking up. You can hear me going, and the camera is shaking. I'm having a gas. So Kirk is with us now. He's picked up on our mode of improv, and he's nailing it. So
nice. I like that. And then your newest one is the Hot Chicks Blast Uranus. It's old, but it's new.
It sure is. Yeah.
There it is.
I have some of these here, not all of them, but yes, I do have it. Yeah. And that one, first off, everybody should know because I say it openly. It was the third film we did. It's number 3 on the spine. They're numbered. And that one was shot at the tail end of 2012. That was the late November of 2012. And as soon as we shot, and we did everything nice, we rented a luxury house that had an indoor pool. I had a great cast. The main actress in this movie, she only shot this one time with us. She never shot again. And I thought she did a really good job. She had to sing in this movie. There was intended to be more singing than there is in this release. But as soon as we wrapped that production, and I got home and started capturing the footage, and I knew that I had to get special effects in there. There's at the end of the movie has stuff I don't want to tell you about, but it has some need for special effects. And of course, there's lots of guns fired and explosions and all this. So I knew I had some work ahead of me to do. And right then January, like early January, my wife told me we were pregnant. And that kind of set me back because right away I knew like, well, that's fantastic, but I now have to get a much better paying job with security. We got to move to a bigger house, I mean, not a house, we were renting, but we had to do a lot of things. Life had to just be completely changed. New job, new place to live, new baby stuff, get it ready for having a baby. And that's where the sidetracking just started. Hot Chicks did not get put together after that. And the more dormant it was, it stayed dormant because I immediately noticed right after moving into a better place that had 2 bedrooms and getting a better job at my day job, I had this new baby's room that was now empty. And it was still a month to go before the baby was born. So I thought, shit, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm going to make it a massage parlor. And that's Massage Parlor of Death. It was shot in August of 2013, 1 month before my daughter was born.
So one day, are you going to let her know what happened in that room? Or are you going to play the movie?
Yeah. Well, she knows now. Man. She's about 8 years old. So yeah, that room had like a bloody bed on it, a cot that I did take back to Walmart after we covered it and ketchup. And they gave me the refund back. I mean, I can't believe it. Anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah, shit. No shame. You got to do what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And it says right here, the long lost film from Rick Mogg Productions. So,
yeah. And not just because we sat on it. No. I mean, like I said, we shot Massage Parlor. And right after that, I mean, it was like 6 months later, we were shooting Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare. And on the set of that movie, I said, we got to shoot a Bigfoot movie. So we did that within another couple months. So we kept rolling on movies, but that kept sidetracking Hot Chicks. And then it just sat there and it was like almost forgotten about. It was like, well, whatever happened to that movie we did, So now with the pandemic, I took the advantage to finish the special effects and make that damn movie. And there you go. It's out.
Now it's out.
It's just as fresh as if I shot it today. I'll tell you.
I'm so looking forward to this. And I like your headline here. They're not from Uranus, the planet. They're from your anus.
They sure are, man. Yeah.
It's be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
the other thing about this is that because my daughter's being pregnant with what was going to be my daughter was exactly the reason that we stalled the editing of this movie. But when I was doing it, I was careful enough to put my daughter in the movie. So when she was like not even 2 years old, I shot a sequence with her. And it's actually a pretty good sequence with a two-year-old, basically. It's in the movie. And now when I was finishing the sound mix, and she's like 7 years old at this time, I got her up here and I got her to ADR some of the dialogue I needed to do over. So her voice comes up in the movie too. So yeah, my daughter is like, it's kind of like a testament to her in a weird way,
Oh, that's cool. You're like the Judd Apatow of micro-budget movies.
Shit, yeah, why not? With Uranus.
That's right. So yeah, really looking forward to this. So everybody, this is the newest but oldest one. So please check this out, just like I'm going to.
And it's a kicker, man. It's got an explosive ending and a really fantastic finale. So yeah, check that out for sure.
Is it explosive from your anus?
Oh, I can't say for sure, but you'll get to see an anus. Yeah.
Oh, good. I look forward to that then. Good for you. Good for you. Good for the film. Now comes something completely different. And I want to thank you so much for your Aximus 1 and 2 reviews.
Oh, yes.
while I noticed certain other people were not as lucky, but but
They all
mine
have
were.
love, John. They all have love.
This here,
Yes.
gift wrapped and gutted.
Well, that's the second book. Remember
Yes, there is one before it.
Yes, and I can't. I have to mention the first book only because the first book took 7 years to get finished.
Oh wow.
Long time. I was puttering with it for a long time, and when we focused hard time. I focused really full time on that first book, Analog Nightmares, in about 2017, 2016, late 2016. And when that finally was out and released, it came out in October of 2018, and I immediately went into that book. So that book came out in 2019. So it just took 1 year to do that Christmas book. But it was all because the momentum I had built from the first one. Anyway, that's it. In other words, I can't have done the second book unless I'd spent all that time doing the first book.
I still need to buy the first one. I'm sorry. I still need to
That's
get
okay.
it. It's
Yeah.
I actually have it up on my Amazon like cart. It's right there, and it's just like I need to purchase it because I do want both. And
Yes.
I remember I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, is there a way of Axis 1 and 2 being in this?" Because I didn't think that
Well,
maybe you'd be doing short films. And I
yeah.
think your comment back to me was I didn't think you wanted to be in it.
Well, I was actually toying with the idea of not interviewing filmmakers at all in the Christmas book because so many filmmakers, they just haven't made Christmas horror movies. And I had to think of a way of how would I include them then if they didn't make a movie like this. And I came to the idea of everyone has some type of holiday story of a background. And that's the key. If you can access their childhood memories or what it is they most love about Christmas or their own holiday time or their memories of being kids and opening presents or something. If I could get into that kind of a mood, then I knew I could really open something up. So yes, I was so pleased you were able to get in on that, John. And I did want to include Axmas, but it made another decision of, I guess I'll be looking at shorts too, because I want to include those. Those are important. And that's sort of what Christmas themes are, is that everything is a memory that is a short part of nostalgia. They're bits and tastes, and that doesn't have to be these big feature lengths. That can be anything about Christmas. That can be those little jewels of memories and stuff. So yeah, I'm really pleased.
Yeah, and thank you again, because you just didn't review it, but you let me write a whole thing about each film, and so I was so happy to be part of it. That it's there's even pictures of like Ben Stober, who's in Axmas 2, and he's like, aren't the films in a book? And I'm like, yeah, it's this book here. And so he took the book and he was like holding it with the DVD and the book itself. And
Yeah.
He's taking all these pictures of it. And so he's proud to be in this. So,
Oh, yeah.
and it's a great title too.
Well, I like the title as well. I think it's fantastic. And I am very thankful for every participant. And I am honored that they are honored, because that actually shows me that it's something that it can be, other people can be proud of, not just me, and that's really heartwarming to know that you've done something to make other people happy. The other thing I'll just point out is that book was, again, the second book. So I knew I wanted to do something to help top it, to make it even a bigger impact. And that's where I got involved with Gary Whitson from Wave Movies. And we did this collaboration of the movie version of Gift Wrapped and
I
Gutted.
still need to see that. I still need to own that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this is a Wave movie through and through. It's just recently been it was What to Watch on a Rainy Afternoon. I forget.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, they just looked at this quite good, and they did reenactments even of some of the cornier scenes. But where this came from and the idea was, I talked to Gary. I was so entranced with Gary's whole thing about how he would work custom movies for audiences. Like they would say, listen, I want to make a movie about this. And they would put up the funds and they would dictate maybe what was the scene or what was the movie itself. And Gary would make that movie. And I was really, really interested in that. So I thought about it and I thought, wouldn't it be fantastic if not only was I able to experience that after talking to Gary and working on Analog Nightmares, But then what if it was like he made this movie in the same title as the book, and we tied them out, released at the same time. And then I got to really like collaborate with Gary about doing this because I wrote this whole idea for the movie, but talking with Gary, it was almost reminding me of when I was back in film school in a good way because I would like I have a maybe it's a it's a bit of a well-known thing that I kind of do random things in movies. I don't give full explanation. I just kind of have random events. But with Gary, his thinking was always, okay, well, we need to set this up a little. He's like, if we're going to do it in a strip club, we're going to put it in this state because it's legal in this state if we do strip clubs. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, sure, Gary, that sounds good to me. But that was reminding me, like, it's true. You're supposed to be doing things with a purpose, and everything has an explanation. And Gary had that mindset, so it was really fantastic just collaborating with him. And Gary shot the movie. We had some setbacks in when the production was start, some casting issues, and that's all detailed in my book. In the final chapter was going through my experience of working with Gary to get the movie done. And there it is. There's the final print, the final version, and it's a fun one. I think it's pretty funny. It's about a mall Santa who drinks too much, who goes crazy and kills girls, essentially.
So where can we find that? Because I also want to watch the Wave documentary. I know I can find that on Amazon, but where can we find that?
Well, Wave movies, and these are the movies that Wave has made and own, like this one, is direct from him, direct from his website, www.wavemovies.com. And I recommend you go check it out because every starlet is in there. I mean, we got Tina Krause and everybody else. They're all in these kind of movies. This one too. And but Mail Order Murder is the documentary about Wave, and that is on its own label. At first, it was done by Ross Snyder and Bill Hellfire, and they put it out first, I think, with Saturn's Core, and they did an initial with their crowdfunding. They initially released DVDs. I've got mine just over there. I should grab it. It's signed. I love it. It's fantastic.
Nice.
But then they've got it out with Vinegar Syndrome. They put it on Blu-ray of all things. And it's a fantastic documentary. I think they paired it with a Wave movie too. So you get two bangs for the same buck,
Oh, nice. Yeah. I want that.
Yeah, you definitely check it out. And what struck me though about Gary's movies, Gary Whitson and Wave Films, is that I realized they're niche movies or fetish movies, and I knew going into analog when I was going to have to look at them, I thought, I wonder what I'm going to see, because I mean I've heard about these movies, but I didn't really know them till we were doing the Analog Nightmares book, and I was just dumbfounded because they are mind-blowingly fetish-like, lots of stranglings or drownings or what have you, but they're very, very innocent. They're open for you to be entertained by, not just to sit there and get kind of weirded out by. And that's what really I was struck by, is that there's this level of quality that's just so nice about them. And they're not as mean-spirited as you might have guessed. They're not anything like that. So when I was chatting with Gary, I actually wrote in my story for this movie, for Gift Wrap's movie, I put in a rape scene because I figured that's what Wave audiences would have seen. So I wrote this scene where basically Santa had raped a girl, and when Gary was doing the casting, he writes me and he says, a lot of these girls are just really not crazy about this rape scene. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's going to work. And I said, Gary, I only put it in because I thought that's what your audience would want. Take it out, man. That's okay. I don't usually do those things. So yeah, we kept it pretty light. No rape.
Yeah, I'll check. I got to get both of those then. Yeah.
It was supposed to be rape with jeans on. So like the girl would always be clothed, and that would be the comedy. But, anyway, yeah, check it out when you can, John. I'll send you, or I shouldn't, maybe I'll figure out how Gary can send you a copy. That's about it.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. Then I'd like to talk to them too. So, because I know Wave is such a big thing. So,
yeah. And yeah, he is too.
Okay. So now that brings us to actually why we're here. And that is this movie right here, Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, No More Tears. Right. And so this is, I rewatched it today. I still love it. And it just works all around with including two other movies plus a short to make this. And so this came out 2020. It's an hour and 25 minutes. And it's all shot in Canada because you're in Canada, so all your films, I would assume, are Canada.
Yeah, well, they are shot. Yeah.
And so, what is Rick Mogg Productions?
Well, I feel like we just started the interview. Good questions, John, all around. Good questions. Rick Mogg Productions. You know, nobody has asked me, where did that come from? What does it mean? Well, the really obvious thing is it's a play on my name, Richard Mogg, RM, Rick Mogg. But I started doing this. I started saying Rick Mogg in probably like 9th grade math honors. And I said at one time, I said, I'm just your average everyday Joe Rick Mogg. And they looked at me like, you've been planning to say that or something? You know,
Yeah.
And then as I started making productions, and I don't mean like the movies that are released now, but I mean the small little things I would shoot with my small 8mm camera, video camera. And I would just shoot, like we were making a squirrel documentary. It was for a science class. And then we would make something that was for an art class. And it was doing things for school with the camera. You know, my buddies were in some, or I would just make there was one that was Barbie dolls. We used like G.I. Joes and Barbie dolls. It was Macbeth. We were redoing that. Actually, it's really cool because with the beheading scene at the end of Macbeth, we've got one character holding a wrench, banging the head of a Ken doll, and we filled the body with red Kool-Aid. So when the Ken doll's head busted off, blood like leaked everywhere on the table and all this. It looked fantastic, you know. I still have that video.
Oh,
so anyway,
you got to throw it on as a special feature for something. I mean, Shakespeare would be proud. I'm going to say this, and this goes with Lloyd Kaufman and all that. I have a feeling a lot of people who think the people who make movies like this are dumb.
Yeah.
They're just dummies.
I think so. Yeah.
And they're not. I have met some of the smartest people who make these type of films because they get it.
Yeah.
Who would think Lloyd Kaufman would know Shakespeare? He's just a dumb guy from, just who has trauma films where there's poop jokes. It's just, you wouldn't think that. And it's like Stephen King or John Carpenter or a lot of even the more mainstream guys, Wes Craven, especially I would say, are incredibly smart. And I think just a lot of people just go, oh God, who makes this? This guy should be in jail. He probably robs liquor stores. You know that, and you don't. You're a family man. You have a job, and what Shakespeare with Barbie dolls,
Yeah. Well, the truth is, I mean, just on that one little note, when I was in film school and I graduated, I won all the awards. I was voted best director. I won they had like money that you win as a tuition or something as a reward. And I won that award. I won the money. I won all these things. And the thing is though, when I got out of film school is when I started making these type of movies. And I got the feeling a little like I'm sort of the black sheep because I took all the things I had learned in film school and I thought, now that I know them, I'm going to toss some of them away. I'm sure that the instructors thought of me as like, he's going to go out and do really great things. He's going to be really, really big. Instead, he goes out and makes Easter Bunny Bloodbath. And I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but the truth is when I shot Easter Bunny Bloodbath, the instructors I had, which were well-known people in Vancouver film industry, they were actors. One of them was an actor. There was another one who was working in production offices and stuff. They made their own movie. But my movie got out faster than theirs. My movie actually made royalty return in money. Theirs didn't. And to look at both of them side by side, mine is kind of funny and theirs it's good, but it's a completely different kind of movie. It almost feels, like it's not supposed to be funny. It's totally melodramatic in some parts. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but their film just didn't seem to connect the way mine did. And I don't know if mine was good or not, but the fact is that I made something where I knew I had an audience. And it's almost like that. I don't know if they knew they had an audience or what, but that idea set me off into, not only did he like graduate great, but he took all our rules and tossed them. And now he's making movies that are like not good, but they're getting better seen than what we do. I think I'm pretty sure I was the black sheep after that. So you're right. It's not dummy movies. You're smart. You're educated. It doesn't mean you got to go to film school, but you know what it is you're trying to make. You have an idea in your mind of what it is you want to do, and you're executing that action. You're doing it.
Well,
So,
yeah, because like Stephen King, for example, you could go through one of his books. There are typos galore. And the reason for that is, and it's true, he has pointed this out. He was an English teacher. He knows why those typos are there because he tries to write in the way that people speak. So when people point that out, he goes, no, I can tell you why that typo is there. And that's the important thing. If there's a typo or a mistake in the film and you can't explain it, there's a problem there. So if somebody comes up to you and says, you just broke the 180, rule, and you go, what's the 180 rule? There's a problem with that. Filmmakers should know, if you go to school or not, and I did go to school, that you should know what the rules are so you can break them.
Yes, that's what I said to them. I said, you got to know your rules before you break your rules. And that's the whole thing. By the way, you just touched on typos in books. Analog Nightmares has a lot of typos in it and a lot of issues. And it's not like a bad thing. I mean, it's been reviewed and people say like this actually makes it feel like a shot on video book because it's in the same lingo as the movies. You get that same independent streak feeling. But I know why the typos are there. It wasn't on purpose. It was because I didn't have any time to work on editing. I kept having pushback from the print house that they were having issues with all the pictures that were bleeding to the edge of pages. So it was constantly, I'd be sending in the final proof and they'd be sending it back to me saying, we can't work with it. And you're killing me, guys. It was like a month and a half they were going through this. And I just lost all my time where I was going to be editing. And, at that point, it was just like, frick, just let it go. I mean, what am I going to do? Right. So.
Oh, well, and I know I have a ton of typos from what I wrote on this because I'm good, but I'm not great. And it's I can form a sentence, but I ran that thing through Word. I ran it through Grammarly but I use free Grammarly and it still said like, you have issues, but you have to subscribe to Grammarly. Like and pay for it to fix those issues. And I'm like, I don't want to subscribe to Grammarly. And so I guess I'm just going to have to stick with those issues there. So it is what it is. You try your best and you're still going to have that period where it should be a comma or something.
Yes. Some people will be so obsessed with the mistakes that they will take all their time to fix mistakes and miss their opportunity. And I would rather get out what was my heart intention, like the real push of the emotion of what it is I was trying to do, even with the mistakes. And then in terms of the book, that's what happened. I thought, I want to get this out because this is what needs to, I feel, come out. I really want to get this out now. And I was faced with, I was interviewing people in that first book that some of them are in their 70s. I mean, and not perfect health. And I knew that if I waited too long, if I was sitting back on things and fixing all my typos, this and that, what if somebody did actually pass away before they got to see the book? And I had promised them I would get them that book. I was committed. And these weren't just random people I interviewed. For me, they were my heroes. Look at like Nick Millard, Mark Polonia, Phil Herman. These guys were like, I've been looking up to them. Tim Ritter. These guys are, I grew up watching their stuff. So to have them on board with this and being interviewed, and some of them were just blown away, like Doug Stone, who was an actor in mid '80s, movies like Shock Chamber and stuff. He thought when I contacted him, he thought I was talking about the voice work he's done for video games or like his anime stuff. And he couldn't believe I was serious. I said, no, Doug. I said, I'm talking about Shock Chamber, from '85. And he didn't believe me at all. And we got on the phone and I think he almost still didn't believe me. It wasn't until I was talking with him like real questions that he knew I was serious. So, but yeah, if you wait too long, when you either miss the train or you're just, it's your own personal like feelings. Like a lot of people are just afraid to show mistakes. They're afraid of that. Like it somehow means that they are less smart or something, And in terms of the book, I figured I'm going to bite the bullet and get it done and get it out. With the movies, when I do a purposeful mistake, and there are purposeful mistakes and accidental mistakes, both kinds, the decision is always in the editing. Because when you're watching a movie, you know, everything that you see in that movie is purposefully left there. Now, they could be intentionally done or not, but the point is the final edit is what makes them intentional, right? If something like you throw a stick and it breaks and you go, cut, we're going to do it again, throw it and the stick doesn't break. You know, it depends. If you see the movie where it breaks, they break it on purpose on the movie. Essentially, they've used that take for a reason, you know? So that's the
Right.
way I think about movies, is that all decisions that you see are there for a reason. And usually it's because I like showing behind the scenes stuff in a movie. I like to show the stakes. So,
Okay. So, okay. Segue then. That's a good
yeah.
segue. Reasons.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to pick two, possibly three films to make one sequel for? What was going through your mind the day that you went, oh, I need to take these movies and make them into one sequel? What was the process?
Yes. Right away, it started with the making of Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend. And the shooting of that, I think of that movie as an all-star picture. Because not only did I have reoccurring actors who came back for that movie, but the production was so smooth. We shot Bigfoot in, I think it was a total of 3.5 to 4 days. It was very, very smooth. We had no real issues on Bigfoot, and it was just a lot of fun. And I thought to myself, if we're going to bring something back, we're going to bring back this John Sarius character, because I love the idea of him being a private investigator who is mortal or is like physically wounded, and he has a constant need to tell people about it. He tore off my dick. Bigfoot tore off my dick. He says it to everybody. I mean, it's like a badge of honor for the guy. So I thought, if Kirk's going to come back in another movie, we're going to have John Sarius. And then I thought, you know, we can't tell his story completely unless we bring back Bigfoot too. And right away, like a stroke of lightning, I thought, we need to have Bigfoot battle another monster creature. And Easter Bunny was sitting there. We had done it. We knew we had Easter Bunny props. I had to buy another suit. So the bunny mask especially looks a little different between 1 and 2. But I knew we could do it. And if the ending of that part 2 was where Bigfoot versus Bunny came out of this big fight, I mean, I considered calling the movie Bigfoot versus Bunny. And but then I kept listening to Ozzy Osbourne, No More Tears, and I thought, no more tears, no more tears, you know. And that's where I was getting the whole idea came together. Then it was about John Sarius, healed or at least surviving from the end of Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend. He's immediately on the hunt for revenge again, but instead of finding Bigfoot, he happens upon the Easter Bunny Bloodbath myth, and he finds the old man from Easter Bunny Bloodbath. And after talking with him, he finds the cabin, the green cabin, and then it'll all come together again. And like every good sequel is, John, like Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, I put in an abundance of flashbacks. Because
I love
figured,
Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I figured there's just so many people in the world, you know, likelihood is they haven't seen the first movie. So make sure they understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it works out. So, and I love having John Sarius back. So, and especially FBI, the federal Bigfoot investigator is perfect.
Right. Yeah.
And I love how he's mostly in shorts. He's always in like bike shorts or something. Like these really tight shorts.
Yes. When Kirk first did that, it was his wardrobe. That's because we went to the woods on Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend, and it was a hot day. There were mosquitoes everywhere. A hot day. So he shows up in shorts and a t-shirt. So I had this blazer thing I put on him, which I knew that was going to be his costume, and the hat. And we gave him pistol guns, which have like the neon orange on the ends because they're just dollar store stuff. But I spray painted some black, and the black is coming off. But anyway, the point is, we dressed him up a little bit. But basically, when Kirk came in shorts, I thought, hell, we could work with this. This is so weird. We got to do it.
Well, I love when he gets serious. And he goes, now I'm serious. I'm going to put on pants. And then that's his turning moment right there of, now we're going to get somewhere because now he's wearing pants.
Yeah, that was scripted. That was in the script. That was he gets so mad, he gets out of the car to put on his pants. Yeah.
Right over the shorts too, so that way he can take them off if he needs to.
Of course, make the actor comfortable, you know. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
worry about nudity and stuff.
So did you, while writing this, did you think of, okay, what do I need to add to this film? What can I take from that film? How can I kind of make this all like a cohesive story without it being confused? Because it really
Yeah.
is two films, but he does mention aliens, so it is the short film too. But that's he
Right.
goes,
Right.
oh, we'll talk about that later, and it's not brought
Yes.
up again. So
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
how did all that come together?
Well, when I think back on Easter Bunny 2, what strikes me about it is the production feeling very segmented. Because I wrote this thing. I usually write things myself anyway. All the scripts are usually written, but I do talk to my wife a lot, and I bounce ideas off her of what's working, and she'll come up with it, maybe say like, well, this is kind of not good. Maybe let's add some more thought to that. She doesn't tell me anything specific, but she does tell me what's not really that good. So, but in terms of Easter Bunny 2, writing it, it pretty much came together as soon as I knew we had John Sarius walking from the old man, finding the house, finding Peter still alive, who was the killer in part one. And then that was all. We knew he would shift focus at that point back onto his girlfriend, Lisa. Lisa was going to become the new lead of Easter 2. She'd be the killer bunny. But the trouble I had in this right away is I knew Megan Kinsley was not available. She essentially, I believe, stopped acting, and now she's an agent, a casting agent. So I thought, well, she still might come and act in movies, but she's not doing it now with a pursuit of acting. She will be doing it as a favor. That's about it. So she, I don't think, was comfortable doing a full lead role, and she didn't have the availability anyway. But Caitlin was already from like Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare and from Massage Parlor of Death. She had been in so many movies, plus the Hot Chicks, that I knew she could take over the role. And the explanation was, of course, she had to get her face reattached. So that's why she looks different, right?
Well, there's two ways of doing things. Damn, I want to use the same actor, but they died in the last movie. Oh, it's
Yeah.
a twin.
It's a twin, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So great. We'll just say it's a twin.
Right.
Or what you did. Damn, I can't use the original actress, so I have to use another one. Plastic surgery.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is what they do in Stepfather 3.
That's exactly it. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the whole Joker thing for the Tim Burton Batman with the crappy instruments and, and all that type of stuff. And he looks like a totally different guy. And it's like, yes, that's the other way of doing it. And you always kind of have them do it's my face.
Yeah,
okay?
I didn't do much of that. I thought about putting scars on her, and I didn't do that either. But I figured just to say it's her, that's enough.
Well, yeah, because enough people go, wow, you look great. That surgery really looks good,
Yeah, doctor.
Yeah, and I like that she takes over the bunny role. I like that. So
well, that was the initial first thought, was that if it was a sequel, we got to have the girl as the killer. We can't. I mean, resurrecting Peter again as the killer, it seemed old to me. It felt like we've done it already. What benefit could it be if he was going to be the killer bunny again? But with Lisa being the killer in part 2, we're exploring it from her perspective. She's gone through trauma. So therefore, the trauma is a trigger to being the motivator for her to kill. And that was something neat that not only I would want to look at as making the movie, but Caitlin as an actress thought that was really kind of good to do. She really enjoyed getting that kind of motivation for why she was going crazy. And I believe that's also the spark that Travis Turner came back to be in it. Little T, Steve. Yeah, because again, he is now a very popular actor. He's signed in the union. He works on kids shows all the time. He does voiceover work. He was in a TMZ thing recently too. It was pretty popular. I can't remember what it was about, but it was very popular. His what do you call it? His persona skyrocketed after that. But Travis and I are good friends. We went to film school together, and he's been in a couple of my films since then. We've always stayed in touch. But when I told him, I'd like to have you back in the movie, and he's like, oh yeah, man, it sounds really cool. But I'm thinking like, I don't have him like as a hook. I haven't really got him interested, peaked, And I said, well, yeah, well now it's about Lisa. It's the continuation of what has Lisa gone through. Don't forget, she had her baby ripped out of her abdomen and her face was gnawed off. And now she's back. Right? And then Trav was like, yeah, man, I'm down. Let's do it. And plus, I gave him a bit where he got to like kiss the girl and get a bit of a love scene before he gets killed, because he didn't get the score in the first movie at all, you know?
No, he
So,
didn't.
yeah.
And while one guy has his dick ripped off by Bigfoot, he had
Yeah.
his dick chopped off by the or his balls, by the
His
Easter Bunny.
balls. Yeah. I figured I'd
So
be cute and change it, and we made it his balls get hacked off. They fall in the basket, but anyway.
yeah, it's nice to see all these people, return. And then of course you figured out a way of getting, the main character back just with a different actress. So
Yeah.
that I think worked out really well. And so as far as like just the production of the whole thing, like how did that work kind of, from like beginning, middle, and end? How did that
Yes.
all come up
Well,
across?
coming off of that Bigfoot experience, Bigfoot was again just such a dream project. It was quick, it was efficient. We were shooting like practically like just from go to stop. We had it all in the can, and we didn't have problems. It was so smooth that when we went together to do Easter Bunny 2, I was working with smaller casts in the group because I only had 2 or 3 people at most with me at a single time. Then we were going to multiple locations, and those locations we went to essentially to where the actor was. So like Travis, again, his schedule is crazy. So I had to go to his apartment, and we shot in his apartment, just because that's the only way I could get him. He was between days on another show. So that kind of stuff, I really feel like it was just segmented. I got pockets of time, and I was able to fill it up with, okay, now we're going to get there. We're going to bring the equipment and we'll shoot. The only luxury we had for Easter 2 was I still remained in contact with the people I initially rented that green cabin from. So I'm in like basically Vancouver. They're in a place called Chilliwack. It's about maybe two hours, two and a half, something like that, drive away on the highway. So when I rented it back in early mid 2010, it was essentially like an Airbnb. They were thinking, well, we'll put it up for rent and people will come stay at the week. There's a lake there and all this. And instead, when I contacted them, I said, well, listen, I want to shoot a movie there. And like, people will all be like, yo, I don't think so, right off the bat. But I said, listen, we're handheld, we're on tripod, and that's about it. Minimal light. We're like one light, we got like a crew of this many people. It's like not going to be a big deal. And they also owned the house beside that cabin. So they were there present, not watching us, but they knew if there was any issues, they could be there. So they were very gracious to let us do that. And when I contacted them, I'd stayed in contact with them just on Facebook and stuff. Now we're talking like almost 10 years later. And I said to the idea of, would it be okay if I came back out and shot at the cabin again? And they said, well, yeah, Rich, but the problem is we sold the other house and we now moved and we renovated. So now we live in the cabin, but it's not the same as you saw it. The outside looks kind of the same, but we painted it a bit more dull. It's not so bright green. I said, that's friggin' perfect. So they said, yeah, why not, Rich? But what about if my husband can have a cameo in the movie? And I said, that's perfect. So see, we all roll off each other. So when Kirk and I drove Kirk out to the location, a couple hours down the highway, and he's ready to do this John Sarius Discovery bit at the cabin.
The Torgo guy. He's the Torgo guy.
Yes, he's the groundskeeper. Is that what you meant? Yes.
With the machete. Yeah. He kind of reminded me of Torgo. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
He's the owner. Yeah. So of course we knew we were going to have him there. He's the caretaker. He'll lead John Sarius into the basement, and that's where we find Peter MacKay. And it all came together. That was our real luxury shoot. That day trip we went out there, we did this whole thing. We stayed and chatted with them, catched up on a lot of stuff about the other films I had done. But besides that, Easter Bunny 2 was really quick. The ending of that movie is out in the woods again. And that's a place really close to where I live. And it's like a dike. It's it's really, there's trails and people bike ride and go everywhere. But this place we shot is off the trail. It's not very far, but I know a certain path that takes you there, and it's very isolated. So that's where we shot the entirety of Bigfoot 8, My Boyfriend, is that location. And it's come up in a Format of the Dead, that other short, that's where they find the videotape and stuff. And so I keep using this place because nobody's gotten in our way, essentially, I just I keep going there. I live like really close. So when we got there with the two costumes, and then we set up with the camera and everything we had going on, and then we had a few fake weapons and stuff. We did catch a few looks because, again, it's not like completely locked off. It's not private, isolated, but nobody gets in your way. Like they see you, they think, oh yeah, well these guys are shooting something, and they thankfully just keep going. No one's really rude and sticking their head in the camera and something like that. So we were pretty much left alone to shoot the end of the movie, and only other thing I can recall is that it started to rain just near the end of that stuff. So when there's a beheading scene and the head falls to the ground, you can see that there's been raindrops and stuff like that. But no, it was smooth sailing all the way. But it did feel like segmented, rushed. I went to a lot of locations, and some locations you do have to pay for. You have to get permission to be in, and we did. I remember also that on Bang & Vengeance is when I was able to articulate the way of walking into a location close to closing time and saying to them, for this much money, I would love to have you stay here for the next maybe hour, and we'll shoot something real quick. And I've got my camera right here, and look, there's my actor right there. And what do you say? And people will say yes, and that's funny. If you catch them at the right time, they're in the good mood. It's an easy $100, easy $50 even. Why wouldn't they say yes? You know what I mean? So,
right. Well, and to go back to looks, it's funny is there's this scene where the Lisa character is like walking through the park, and you're following her, and it's kind of a dramatic scene with her. And there's a little girl with a stick, and she looks at the camera and aims the stick right at the camera. Yeah, and then she continues walking. And most directors would have been cut. Let's do this again. But you left it in, and I thought it was hilarious that this little girl is just poking a stick at you.
Absolutely, man. And that actually is one of those mistakes where you're happy it's there, but we didn't have time for a take two. To be honest, my batteries were dying. We had been shooting all day long. I was sitting there with the last bit of juice in the camera, and I said, "Let's go for this one take wonder, and we'll just get this whole thing. I mean, we can do it." I mean, the other kids in the movies are kids that either I know or are my own kids. So we're not trying to capture faces and all that stuff, But in general, yes, we just walked through real quick. I said, we got time for one take, guys. That's it, and we did it. And again, nobody is like in Vancouver, there's lots of shooting anyway. Budget stuff, like TV shows are shot in Vancouver all the time. And it's become, like they say, it's Hollywood North. That's probably a little stretching it, but in truth, they're used to production. So when there's some people walking down the street and you see there's a film shoot going on, it's not out of the ordinary. Signs on the street that say, crew park over here. That's the way it is normally. So, and even we reroute our like roadways because they've been blocked off for some production. So to have a smaller production shooting somewhere publicly, you're not going to get much trouble. I've never had like winos come up to me or anything like that. People are just generally happy to see you doing something. Is the feeling a bit,
Hey, if you got a wino coming up to you, give them a couple bucks and make them work security.
Of course. Well, that's the stuff we used to do in film school. Is we'd be shooting our own shorts for film class, and then at the end of the production, we'd take the rest of our craft services and we'd be giving it out to the people that were out in the street that were right outside the door of where we were shooting. Like that's just kind of the atmosphere, is that to keep it all light, to keep it positive. Not everybody's like that, but you try to be.
Well, with part two is I've noticed that the Easter Bunny stuff is much more dramatic than the Bigfoot stuff. So Kurt almost puts that sense of humor in it when it's needed, because when you think about Lisa, Stockholm syndrome, her kid was pulled out of her. She's going nuts. I mean, you really kind of touch on some serious stuff for a movie called, Easter Bunny Bloodbath 2, No More Tears. And once it kind of gets heavy, Kurt comes around and yes, Bigfoot took my manhood. And then you're laughing again. So it's a little less serious.
Well, thank you, John. That's a really, really intelligent thing to say. And I really am appreciative you noticed it. Honestly, I mean, I feel like I did not, absolutely, man. Oh, thank you. That's fantastic. But we try to I mean, we were reasoning why she's going crazy. We try to touch on the idea of trauma and all that stuff you're saying, Stockholm syndrome, and I realized that also we're peanuts. We're not doing this justice. You know what I mean? Like, we're not focused a lot on this trauma. The biggest traumatic scene we had in there was her alone sitting with all the Easter grass, when she's in her bra and she's just throwing this stuff up in the air. That was our big traumatic scene.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, that's
and that was not much of a dramatic scene, but Caitlin played it very well, I thought, and it comes off as well as it needed to be. I think it was really good. But
I think that it works really well, and I don't know if this is weird to say, but I think that it works well with her and her bra. It kind of exposes her, and then she's putting on the bunny ears, and then she's taking that grass and kind of putting it all over her, and it works really well, because it's funny, as you did like the opposite of what I did in Axmas with Sarah Ashley Campbell, is she hates Christmas. She doesn't want to be around Christmas. Christmas to her is non-existent. But yet your character of Lisa is almost obsessed with Easter. She's putting on that festival. She's doing, even after the horrible stuff that happened to her, she's still all about Easter, but in like a really weird and twisted type of way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad that story translated for you. Thank you, John.
Oh, yeah. I try to look for those type of things, and I think it's well written, because you're taking all these films and you're putting them into this one sequel, and sometimes it just gets too jumbled. People go, oh no, just stick with one thing, or like the Batman movies and stuff. They always put in too many villains, and just stick with one villain. This it works with what you're doing, and it primarily is Easter Bunny. But it does have a lot of Bigfoot in there too.
Yeah, and when Bigfoot comes back at the end, again, it's pure comedy action. We're resided with the way trauma was, and now we're just into the fun stuff at that point. Yeah.
Oh, I love when Bigfoot laughs at John's penis, the character John's penis. He's like, "Don't laugh at me! Don't laugh at me!" It's like,
I actually totally forgot that we also had Ranger Chris Johnson come back. I have forgotten that he's in there too. Yeah, that was important to get. And I did try to get the same actors back when I could. And so many things have changed in the time it was between shoots. I think it was literally 5 years or 6 years between shooting the first movie and shooting part 2. So people had aged, they had changed in life too. Like Ranger Chris is my DP from the first movie. Chris Clements, and he had a son and gotten married, so his life had really changed since we had done the first movie, and I was really happy he was able to come back, and just all this different stuff. But it was a joyous feeling to have people come back to you. When they leave and they never come back, you feel like, damn, I hope I didn't offend them or something. But when they keep coming back, you're having fun.
Well, and especially if it's smaller roles too, because like the Ranger, it's not a huge part, so it's just like, come out for a day. And then you could go back to
die. He got killed in it, so he was excited about that.
Yeah, so he's like, woohoo, not coming back again. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I noticed that's what some people do. It's like, well, if you kill me, I could come back because I'm now a lawyer or something. I don't have time, but I could take this day, this Wednesday to come out and do it. And if you kill me off, then awesome. Even some big budget actors do that stuff, like Harrison Ford and some of these other guys, where it's like, if you kill Solo, I'll come back.
Exactly.
And it's right. Yeah. So it's one of those things where if they can die dramatically, then a lot of times they'll do it. So what do you think your budget was for this?
For budget, well, Easter Bunny 1 was $3,700. And that number has stuck with me. I've always known it because I felt I spent too much money. And the reason that was $3,700 was because the food cost about $1,000. The rental of the place was about $1,000 as well. But then I was faced with the option of, do I just drive out to this location and ask the crew and everybody, the cast, to drive themselves? Or are we going to pay for renting some luxury cars and still get them to drive up, but then we'll have fancy cars we could shoot on camera with too? And we ended up renting 2 cars. And that's what boosted the budget on the first movie. The second movie was much cheaper. It was the cost of the second Easter Bunny outfit. And because I was shooting with small groups, I didn't have to put out much for any craft or food. Like we might go for a burger or something after we shot, but that was it. I mean, we didn't have a big group together at all the same time. We had like maybe two other actors with me and somebody else, and that was it. So the money that was spent on that second movie, I didn't make a full budget ahead of time. I just looked at the tally at the end, and it was about $1,200. It was pretty cheap. The only thing I'll mention though about Easter Bunny 2 is the Michael character, the brother of Lisa, who shows up and he's telling her, like, he's really a nice character, and he has the nunchucks at the end,
Right.
but he's he's saying like, Lisa, you look so beautiful, and how are you doing? And I'm concerned about you. That was his role, really, was to be the one concerned. That was not a professional actor at all. It was a high school friend I had. It was my best friend in like grades 10, 11, and 12. And I hadn't seen him in like 15 years almost, it seemed. We had seen each other off and on. I went to his wedding, went to mine, but I hadn't really spent time with the guy. So he came out to do this movie, and I really took advantage of him. I kept him there for a long time, and it was great spending time with him. And at the end of the movie, I said, dude, listen, you got to take your shirt off, man. Because I knew he was working
I wrote
out.
that down. I'm like, why does he take his shirt off?
He had been working out. He kept showing pictures of him doing like, lifting weights and everything. And he has like big pecs. So he was really feeling good about himself. I said, show him off, man. Take off your shirt. You can do it. And I was really building him up. So then the bloopers, you see, he tries and tries, and he's not really comfortable with it until the one take he just was, I'll go full bear, and he took it all off. And he wasn't comfortable still, but that's the take in the movie, so it worked. And I thought it was great. But the other thing I was struck with Easter Bunny 2 was that it was the opportunity to go back into the original music tracks I had. And a lot of music I had from about 3 different artists. And one I don't talk to anymore. The second one was Chris Clements, Ranger Chris Johnson. And I was going through a lot of his music, and I had not used a lot of his tracks. I used like 2 of his themes in the first movie. So going in Easter Bunny 2, I wanted to reuse the themes, but then I started listening to this other stuff he had done. I thought, that's fantastic, man. Like, I mean, I don't know why I missed it the first time around, but I definitely want to use this now. And, he was like, yeah, let's do it. It's exposure for him. He was loving it. So those are my big memories from Easter Bunny 2. And
I love that that the Easter Bunny has its own theme. Even I believe it's Bloodbath and Beyond, which is now Bloodbath TV. In their review for the first film, they even mentioned the theme because nobody does themes anymore.
You're right. Yeah. Well, that theme lets you know that's the killer. That's the threat, right? If you see that bunny and you don't hear the theme, something's missing. Maybe it's not the killer or something's going on. But when you hear that reinforced, that's the killer. It's the Jaws thing, right? With the yellow barrels. It's all that, the music cues, that kind of stuff.
Well, and, if you play me Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th. If you play me Nightmare on Elm Street, I know Nightmare on Elm Street. If you play Jaws, Jaws with it done. All this stuff, there are themes, Star Wars. You just know it just from hearing even like a few seconds. You could go, that's Star Wars. And with this, if somebody played me that Easter Bunny theme, I'd go, oh, that's Easter Bunny Bloodbath. Because it's so distinct.
I'm trying to decide how big should I laugh, John? You just compared me to Star Wars and Jaws and stuff. Thank you, man. Oh my God.
Of course, you're welcome. Well, it's deserved. It's a good theme, and it sticks in your head. Yeah, so it's one of those things that just a lot of people don't do anymore. They don't appreciate themes or soundtracks or scores or anything like that. So
yeah. No. The artist who did that, he's the one I don't talk to anymore. It's not for any reason at all. It's just we faded, time passed, and he's not on contacts anymore, and that's that. But it's good music. It really did work.
Yeah. And so one shot with Kurt when he goes to visit the gardener, I think it's Jim. And when he goes to talk to him, he takes off of a chair a pig mask. Yeah. Why is that like its own shot? What's the pig mask?
Yeah. Well, first off, the old man, Jim the gardener, is my father-in-law. It's my wife's
Oh.
dad, and his name is Jim. But he messes with me a lot, you know. I mean, really, like, I mean, he really enjoyed being in that first Easter Bunny movie, and I didn't want to put him in another movie. I was like, that's good, you know. He was the one. He was drinking a whiskey and like looking at the girls and stuff. But the thing was, he kept saying to me, he goes, Richard, what the hell? You gonna put me in another movie, right? You go, when are we shooting again? Where's my royalty check? You know, that kind of stuff. So I finally said, yeah, Jim, let's do it, you know. And now he's like, hey, call me Dad. You know, so, all right, Dad, let's do it, you know. So I said to him, I got a great idea. We'll shoot you and it's part 2. You know, you're still alive. You got the axe in the head, but you're still alive. So the whole deal was we went to his new house. He had sold a house or bought a house right around this time frame. That's why it kind of looks like a mess in the location. But he's very eccentric. He has a lot of weird stuff because he used to go like he would go he called it treasure hunting, but it was just like, you know, flea markets and stuff. He was for decades would go to flea markets, and no deal was a bad deal, or you could make it better. He would not stop. Like he would trade for beta tapes even though he had no player, or he would get Playboys even though he'd never read them. You know what I mean? Like he would just constantly be interested in the trade, the art of the deal. And so anyway, he somehow got this rubber pig mask, and he had it in a paper bag, and it's sitting there in the chair as we walk in. And I said, Jim, what's this? And he goes, call me Dad. I said, oh yeah, right, Dad. I mean, constantly now it's always Dad. But like I said, Dad, what is this? You know, like, what is this supposed to be? He goes, oh, you know, you sit there and I'll move it. Don't worry. So he's directing me now, right? He says, what's the scene? I said, well, okay, this is Kirk. He's going to come in. He's playing this Bigfoot investigator. He's going to sit down. He's going to ask you questions. And he's like, all right, I got it. Let's go. Said, all right. So he like do the scene, you know, he wakes up from a fake nap we have there. He's supposed to be asleep. And he does this live on camera. He goes, don't worry, I wasn't smoking any sausages. And he picks up this fucking pig's mask. And I guess he was making this joke about it being a part of a pig and he was smoking a sausage or what, I don't know. And then like that was that. He did it and I thought, that's pretty fucking weird. We cut and okay, take 2. We're switching angles now, right? I'm like, we got Kirk sitting down. Okay, we're gonna go really on your close up now, Jim. Call me Dad. Sorry, Dad. We're gonna go close up on you. He comes down, and the first thing he does. Oh, sorry, Justin John. Lucy, can you close the door, please? Thank you. Sorry about that. First thing is my daughter coming in the room. The first thing he does is a second take where he suddenly picks up this thing again and does the exact same thing. So it's part of his routine now. And I can't direct him not to do it. So he says, you better show that pig's head in the movie. And that's why it's in the movie. I don't think anybody gets the joke. Nobody gets it. But he gets that joke. And for him to get the final joke, I think that's worth it. So it's in there for him, really.
Okay, yeah. It's an in joke. It's a personal thing. Yeah, so that's fun. Yeah. And then, so now I just want to ask you, because I know that you got your kids and stuff. So we're at the 2-hour mark. Can you stay a little bit longer?
Yes, I can, but I'm just going to ask her to leave if you don't mind. Lucy. Hey, Luce. Sweetheart, can you close the door, please? Thank you.
When are you done?
Oh, I'm not for a while, but please close the door, okay?
When?
Soon.
When?
Thank you.
When?
Bye-bye. Sorry, John. Oh, gosh, we'll close the door. Sorry, John. She needed a shower.
That's kind of funny. When? Well, soon. When?
You can edit.
Yeah. Oh, no, that type of stuff stays in. So cats, dogs, kids, it can all stay in.
All right.
So now you also play a character that you pop in and out. You play Chet Brockwell, but I've noticed in I think it's Bigfoot, were you known as Luke Jetstone?
Was
at least in the credits as an actor.
Oh yes, who played Chet Brockwell? That's right.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, again, I wasn't trying to get a credit. I knew that role needed to be filled, and I didn't have another actor, so I'll do it, you know. And it didn't take any real ability. I mean, I'm mugging at the camera and I'm talking real fast and funny, and that was about it. And the reporter's job was to, you know, basically explain the narrative to the audience in case they got lost anyhow, right? I mean, that was the whole point of the Chet Brockwell character for Bigfoot. But now that I've done that, I've established it, so I've got to keep coming back. So yes, I'm in Easter Bunny too, real ridiculously, because that part of Chet Brockwell was done where COVID was really early and quite a concern, and like the biggest worry at that time. It was probably like April or something of 2020. So we were all like huddled in our house and stuff at the home. So I shot it essentially in this area where I was leaning into the camera and like, you know, I'm Chet Brockwell, you know, and that kind of stuff. But you haven't seen Hot Chicks yet, but when you do, Chet Brockwell is back. But he's a whole new Chet Brockwell, whole new.
Okay, all right. I'm looking forward to that because you also play a doctor.
Yeah,
with a bed sheet wrapped around him.
Yes. I got to tell you, the doctor scenes we had shot in 2016. So that was before COVID. So the idea of wearing masks and everything was very awkward. I didn't like it. My glasses were fogging up and everything. And
Mine too.
I just was like, it was terrible. I mean, and the idea that anybody got used to wearing so many masks every day was crazy. But anyhow, so playing the doctor, and I'm wearing like a plaid shirt, but you just throw a bed sheet over it, right? And you can see the back. You see my pants and you see my shirt and stuff. I thought that was really funny. And if you see the bloopers, I am cracking up. I couldn't get a line out straight. And Kirk made it so much worse because he's lying there right in front of me, and his stunted delivery of Bigfoot tore off my dick. Yeah. I was fucking I just cracked up every chance I could. It was just, I couldn't get a word out. The other actors that were sitting outside of that room, and they were hearing me, and they're yelling at me like, Richard, my God, you were better in film school. You used to be able to do this. You know, I couldn't get a line out. It was hilarious, but
well, and then that bed sheet makes another appearance as a straitjacket.
Oh God, yeah, it does. Oh yes. Well, that's my dime store approach to it. You know, why buy a straitjacket? Why try to make something? Just wrap a sheet around yourself. You'll be okay.
Yeah, just hold your arms like that, you know.
Exactly. That's all you need to do. But that was shot the same day, obviously. And it was where Kirk was in the bed and supposed to be a hospital, and I'm the doctor, you know, tending to him. And then as soon as we finished with Kirk wrapped, I calmed down. I had to really take a breath and calm down. And then we got Caitlin in there, or Cheyenne. Cheyenne was playing Peter then, and got him all. We had the bandage. Now that bandage.
It's not a bandage. It is toilet paper with like blood on him.
Oh, it's not even blood. It was raspberry jam on the toilet paper. You can sort of see that
toilet paper.
Yeah, man. And John, hilariously, if you can see those bloopers, you will tell at one point that fell right off his head. It
is in two different positions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was thinking, while watching it, I'm thinking like, okay, so Richard shoots on a budget, but there had to be like a Walmart or something where you could go down and just buy like a $2 ace bandage to put around his head. But no, he's like, go into the next room, give me some toilet paper. See that jelly? We're going to use that.
Yeah, that's all it is, man. Yeah. And you'll see the same in Hot Chicks. Kirk is in that movie too, and he has toilet paper wrapped around his arm, and it's supposed to be a cast. So you'll see that, John.
You should get like toilet paper sponsor, you know, or something, you know. Yeah. You know, if you're going to be doing it, you know, put it in all your movies. So,
man, toilet paper was the main mix for the blood in Massage Parlor of Death. It added the gooey gore bits. So yeah, we use toilet paper a lot. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Once again, film school on a DVD. So
yeah. Well, the whole blood, the Massage Parlor of Death, I knew would be bloody, very bloody. So we couldn't just like make our own blood out of syrup and stuff because it would be so sticky. If we got it on the walls or the floor or the carpet, it would just be a mess. So I thought we got to make it like washable. Now I did blood out of dish soap in Easter Bunny 1, and it backfired because there's a moment where I got sprayed wearing the bunny mask, sprayed right straight in the eye, and it made my eye like get real red, swollen,
Oh,
hurt. I wouldn't want to do that again. So
no,
instead,
no.
what are we going to do? We'll make this out of organic material. So I bought a lot of cheap ketchup, and we got raspberry Jello and instant coffee grinds for the black little bits. And we mixed that up. We used super hot boiling water for the Jello, and then immediately left that, put in some cold, but put it in the fridge overnight. So the ketchup, the Jello mix, and then the coffee grinds together smelled pretty sweet. Like it was kind of a nauseating sweet, but it was okay. People put it in their mouths. They covered themselves head to toe in that movie and that stuff. And then once we were ready to shoot, just before, we took tissue and twisted, balled it up a bit, mixed it in the blood, and then put that on people. It looked like gobs of flesh on them, you know. So that was it, and that only cost like maybe $5, you could say. You know, it was a really cheap
There you
way
go.
to get tons of blood. Yeah.
And now I don't know about this. Is this real or not? The Easter Bunny show from the first film?
Oh no, it's not real. It's not real. It's just made up for the movie. The doll that is, I mean, all the thing is for this show is a bunny doll bouncing on a table, and that's it. That's the show. The only significance to that is for me personally, because that doll was a doll I had when I was a kid. Like I got it when I was maybe 6 or something. But that doll got trashed and it's in the garbage now anyhow. But there's no bunny show as far as I know. It was just made up. Yeah.
Do you still have that footage?
The native footage, yeah, I sure do. Yeah.
Like you
It's
have
somewhere.
like what you showed, do you still have that?
Well, if I remember, I think I burned it on a disc, a DVD, and we played it live when we shot with the kids, who are my niece and nephew. And they're older now too. This was like 12 years ago. But yeah, we did air it live on the TV at the time and shot the TV live. And if I look, like I have hard drives up the yin yang here, but yeah, I definitely have that footage somewhere, you know.
I wrote down some stuff for like Aximus Meets Rust to kind of include for the Easter Bunny stuff in there. And that was one of the things I wrote down was like, see if he still has that footage that maybe one of the characters could be flipping channels and it comes on the TV.
Oh yeah. Hey,
You know,
if you need
like
it, we'll take a look. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I thought it might be fun to kind of put your stuff in, throughout. So that way it's more than just in appearance at the end. There's kind of that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I thought it could be fun. So the good thing is, even though my notes are very long, we've already talked about most of this. So I'm just kind of skimming here and then I have one question at the end that I really want to get you.
Sure.
So I do like Lisa and Steve, you think they're going to hook up? Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So
and then she kills him.
Yeah,
She takes his heart. She steals his heart, John. Yeah.
Yeah, poor guy. He
Son
thinks
of a-
he's going to be getting some, and then she comes out. That's no good.
Yeah. First he lost his manhood, then he lost his heart. What can you say?
And he
Poor
didn't
guy.
even get to rap.
Not at all. Yeah. But I can say that he did embellish the spitting out of that straw. The idea was we could use this straw and like if we had a mouthful of blood, it would go through and you could see the bloods come out. And for whatever reason, we didn't do it. And just before we went to clean up the bed, he says, "Whoa, what about the straw? What about the straw?" And I said, "We'll let it go, And then he says, "No, man, just give me the straw. I'll spit through it." And I said, "Sure, fine, let's do it." So he tries his best to get every ounce of saliva out of this, and it's bubbling and stuff. And it did work, but yeah.
Yeah, I noticed the straw there. I was expecting blood to come out of it.
Yeah, that's what we intended, and we just lost track of it. We were so focused on like the heart. I don't know. The heart that was it was written, I think that she does rub it on the mask because again, the No More Tears, it would be like the red blood tears of the mask that she puts the heart up to the eye and draws it down. And then this wasn't scripted, but in that moment, I said to Caitlin, "Can you then bring it down to your bust? Can you rub it on your chest? Not like fully like grabbing the breasts and everything, but do you mind smearing it across?" Because I'm thinking visually, you got to have something for eye candy a little bit. And why not,
Yeah.
And getting back to that whole grass scene where she freaks out and she's in her bra too, we did talk about the idea that she's exposed. That's it. She's vulnerable. But of course, in my mind, I'm thinking also we want you in your bra because, you know, And
Well, she's beautiful. So that's, yeah, I mean,
oh,
I
yeah,
was happy to get that, to get that. So,
the first movie Caitlin shot with us was Hot Chicks, and she does a topless scene in that movie, a full topless scene. Now her and I had to
I
discuss.
I am now going to leave. Thank you for your interview. I'm now going to go watch the film.
Yeah, right. But that was, again, it was my first time shooting actual full nudity in a movie as well, and it's really just a shot. It's not like a big elaborate sequence with her topless. It's a shot. But her and I really discussed. We took time to discuss how long the shot would be, what angle it would be, and I storyboarded the shot for her. So she really got a good idea of exactly what it was I wanted to get. And then when we shot it, we were ready to go. And that is like pre-planning that you really need to do, especially with things like action stunts or makeup, and indeed nudity. You got to get some pre-planning in there for that. So.
Well, yeah, because she's with she's in her bra for the one sex scene, but then she's with the person who plays her boyfriend.
Yes, yeah,
and that's a little more than her bra. I mean, that they're going pretty good.
Yeah, well, that sequence in that movie, it's technically his dream sequence, really, or a memory he has. But that physical sequence of them making out on the bed, and she is topless, and I shot that with them years later. It was for the roller coaster kickback project. And I knew I needed a sequence like that. And again, it was COVID times when I was editing this, so I figured that's what I'm going to use and put that.
Oh, that worked.
Yeah, it worked really well, I figured, but yeah, she is topless in that. She initially wasn't going to be. She had pasties on, and we were shooting it topless, but with pasties. But during the shoot, right in the middle of the action, the pasties were just not sticking. They were coming off. So we said, fuck it, let's just go ahead and do it. And we had already shot nudity with her before. And again, we're all comfortable enough at this point. She knows what my focus is, right? I'm not trying to just be a horn dog. I'm actually trying to just shoot a movie here. And we all understand that. So, that's just the way it went. But yeah, then there was other scenes like the ones in which she's the grass throwing and stuff. The choice was to be in a bra, not nudity, because again, I'm conscious that actors are not always, feeling either that they feel it's character necessary or they feel comfortable enough to do it because there's other people around, right? We're not just me and her and the camera. There's other people there too, right? So
and she enjoys an egg.
Oh yeah. Right.
The egg,
not in a weird way.
Oh no, not in a weird way at all.
Not in that way. Yeah.
Sees the most giant pack of eggs I've ever seen, and then takes out one and starts getting into the egg. Yeah. Again, it's a very happy egg.
Yeah. It's a real egg too, real egg. She didn't crack it.
Keep that egg and put it up on eBay.
Right.
Of course, I guess you could sell all of them and just say, "Oh yeah, that's the one that she used." Yeah.
Yes. But there's one thing about this. I just wanted to say that the guy that she's with in that love scene, her boyfriend in Easter Bunny 2, is Peyton Bond. He first came into a Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare as Brad Paisley, and Peyton is in this Easter Bunny 2. Peyton is Caitlin's real life boyfriend, and they met.
I figured.
Yeah, just before we did Teenage Slumber Party. They knew each other like as acquaintances, but during the shoot of that movie is when they fell in love and started to like tell each other they basically had feelings for each other. And it was after that movie that they started dating as a couple. So when we did Easter Bunny 2, they were already living together in the apartment. They were a thing.
That's
they have a kid now.
Oh!
He just recently had a baby boy.
Oh, congratulations!
And I believe they're on their way to they're engaged and they're getting married. So the fact that they've now started this family out of like our cheesy movies is beautiful. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I figured with kind of how intense that scene was, I'm like, oh, I bet they're dating or they're married or they got to be something because. She's not like that in the other scene. She's like this with this one guy, and it's like I bet there's something going on there. And it's
although Jonah, you gotta see the Hot Chicks one because again, that was shot before, and Caitlin is in that movie, and she has a very hot scene with another actor. And I gotta tell you that she does an amazing job. And I remember this. She was eager to do the scene. she was the one motivating the progress of that scene. So when you see it, you'll know what I mean. She's a
I
good.
am definitely watching this movie tonight. You are selling me even more on
Yeah,
it.
man. We'll turn up the
And you,
sound real good. Yeah.
but you know what else you sold me on? And I was going to go
Yeah.
do this before we did the interview. I just didn't have time. Chicken. I was actually going to go get some
Oh,
chicken and be eating it while we're doing the interview because of
you got to be
the two
double
chicken
fisted
scenes.
then.
Yeah.
Double
Oh,
fisted. You
chicken.
gotta go. Yeah.
And be eating that. But if I just don't have time to go out and get chicken, because I
Oh,
find that to be funny.
I love that they try to talk as much as they can through mouthfuls of chicken. I think that's fantastic.
And surprisingly, you never see food spitting out. They're
No, they
fully
did
eating,
it.
but there's no food just like shooting out onto somebody else's shirt.
Yeah. Oh man.
and,
Yeah.
and at the end, you say it's Church's chicken, which is good chicken.
Well, they gave us free chicken, and we went
Oh,
there for lunch. Like they again are quite close to where we were shooting. So when I go in there, at the time I knew the owner, and I said, like, hey, yeah, we're shooting now, because he'd always say to me, when are you shooting your next movie? And I said, we just came back from a day. We were shooting out in the dikes and everything. So yeah, I was more than happy to give them credit. They've sold it. They're a franchise and different owners now. It's a whole different situation. But at the time, it was great. So yeah, I was proud to do it.
oh, that's
Churches.
that. See, that is so awesome because you must be at that point now in your career where people know who you are and they know what you do. And then oh, yeah, you could shoot here. Oh, here's some chicken, or here's this, here's that. You got to be right, I would think.
Well, it would be nice if it was true, John. The truth is they'll recognize me sometimes. More of the fans of the movies, of course, yes, recognize me. But the locally where I am, I'm known as other things. Like my wife's a teacher, and I have kids, so therefore I'm a father. And they know me more from, if anybody knows me, it's from the books now, because they recognize the name. And the books, the first book, Analog Nightmares, it's a breakthrough. It made a big, big splash, and people know me from that. So they're sort of discovering the movies after they found the books. But I don't get that a lot of special treatment, not really. Occasionally you get the right store, the right owner who says, "Yeah, I'd love to be just involved," and they'll let you shoot in their stuff for free. When we did Easter Bunny, that scene where Kirk goes into the video store.
I was going to bring that up.
That was all free. It was because we were down a location shooting at that green cabin, and on the way back, I saw it. I said, "Hey, they still got a video store around here. I mean, it's all DVD, but let's go check it out." And we walked in, and the girl was right there, and she was a little nervous, but she called the owner for me, and she gave me the phone, and I talked to him over the phone, and I said, "Hey, we're just here for the day we're shooting, and I'd love to feature this in the movie. I'll make sure I get an outside shot, and
You got to do
best we
that.
can."
You got to
Yeah.
do that. You got to get the name of the store. Yeah.
Yeah, man, and that store is not in business anymore. They, of course,
No.
they've shut down. But the beauty is that at that time, for him, the owner, he was like jazzed. I mean, it was fantastic. And we got this free shot of the whole sequence we just put in there. We made it up right on the spot.
It's fun. I love how Kirk just goes in. Do you have many movies on Bigfoot? No, we don't. Do you have any Easter Bunny movies? We're sold out. Okay, and then he leaves. So at least he's doing research. He's trying to figure things out.
That's right. Yeah.
And that cracks me up. And I really do like the idea of Lisa being in the bunny suit. I thought that was a very good idea. Instead of having a guy or just having it being the same actor, you swapped it out, and then she goes from like the head and the bra to the full costume, and then she's got the meat cleaver, the giant meat cleaver. So I thought that was a really good idea. And so I even wrote that down where it's just like I really like that type of stuff. And then there's my video store comment right there.
Okay, great.
And then of course you got the cameos. I'm one of them. Sean C. Phillips is one of them. Phil Herman is one of them. So which is fun. So and I remember I was at that. I was the last minute guy. I remember that because I remember you were making the film, and it was like, oh shit, I got to be part of this. And then contacted you, and you're like, if you can get it to me in like 5 days, because I'm editing right now.
The thing I remember the most about the very first one was Sean Phillips. And the thing with that is that Sean, since when I did the first movie, Easter Bunny 1, 2010, Sean was a right away contact that he was so interested in seeing the movie, and he was just a YouTube blogger, and he would at the time he would just be going set to set to set to like do cameos in other movies. So he was thinking, hey man, you know, your next movie I can cameo in it. If you guys are shooting, you know, let me know. And we weren't shooting anything right away, but I was sending him an early cut of the movie. I said, you want to see Easter Bunny? I'll send you an early cut. And then what happened though was I was not fully locked on editing. So I sent Sean like 4 or 5 versions of the damn movie. I'd send him one in the mail, and it wasn't on the internet. I was mailing him burnt discs. And it was like I'd send it to him. 2 days later, I'd have a trimmer, like a nice cut that was, I thought, paste better. And I said, Sean, forget what I sent you. I'll send you another one. And ultimately, we send him like 4 movies. So the long story short is that he really wanted a cameo in part 2. So he had shot, before we were even in production with part 2, he shot this cameo that for the movie. And I knew how I would work it in. I knew that we could use it no matter what it was. We could figure out a way to get it in there. But it was before we even had the complete script, and he did his cameo. And then because of the experience of writing Analog Nightmares, I was right up there asking, like, Phil Herman is in there, you know, and there's like, who else was it? Was it Dave is in there? Gosh.
Yeah.
Castelloni's in there from Sharky Video. And those guys, I mean, they have been in contact with me since day one with the book. We still are in touch with Facebook and everything, Messenger. So anyway, it was just a blast to get them to cameo in there. And of course, John, yes, you look exactly like Ranger Chris's boss in that movie. It's uncanny. It was so funny. And you even get in the blooper reel too. I know it's not a blooper, but I used it anyway. There was one moment before your take where you just kind of like, you exhaled for a second or something, and it was just a funny sound. I thought that'll make the blooper reel.
I try to do things 100%. If somebody asks me to be in a film, or I reach out to them and they allow me to be in it, I want to do 100%. I'm not going to do a half-assed job. And, you know, and I just hope that they like it. And I remember you saying, like, can you do something outside? And it was like, this is going to be difficult because I got to shoot it myself. So who's going to operate sound? Who's going to do all this? And that's why I came up with the desk idea. But I was at, I think it was like Goodwill or something. And I found that metal plant that was all different colors. And I'm like, he wanted me outside. This looks kind of Eastery. So let me just put it on the desk that this tough John Milius type character who's got the cigar and the gun has this really sweet looking metal plant there on his desk, like a secretary put it there or something. So I'm glad you like it. I mean, that's the take that you used was probably like take 30. Because if I stutter once, I do it again. And I want you guys to have the most perfect one that I can possibly give. And so that, I always do like a ton of takes until I find the perfect one.
Well, I know I cropped it too. I gave you like the oval shape to fit on the guy's watch.
Right.
So we made some of the sides, but there is the one shot at the end of the phone call where we cut to your full frame and you're like, hello. Oh, you know, so we do get to see the plant and the gun and all that stuff. So
so thank you. I really appreciate that. And then the Easter
another one.
I hope I would love to be in something else that you make, and hopefully we'll get, you know, Easter Bunny Bloodbath 3, you know, with a subtitle from another Ozzy Osbourne song. So
there you go. Yeah. Crazy Train or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Going off the rails.
Yeah, there you go. Crazy Bunny. Yeah. And then was that Easter festival real?
No, that was I went with my kids to it was an outdoor park Easter hunt, and it was a pretty big event. I remember you had to pay admission to get in there too. And they had a maze, and they had eggs, and they had people like bunnies dressed around the place and stuff. And I was, you know, I'm always an opportunity guy, so I knew I'd bring my camera and film something. So with a smaller camera this time, you know, it wasn't this big obtrusive 2-foot long thing, but it was just enough to get the right kind of footage. And again, it was my kids too, so they didn't mind running around and stuff like that.
You got to take advantage of that. You have to, no matter if you're there, you got to shoot. Even if you're using your phone, you got to shoot it.
Yeah.
So so you got to do that. And then I thought it was funny that the father and son, who are father and son according to the credits, how he gets killed by Bigfoot, and the son's just like, cool. And then the dad's trying to get him not to watch R-rated movies. And I'm like, is that Richard's commentary about R-rated movies? And, I wonder.
Well, they did come up a little bit with their own lines. Like the part that they really emphasized was you're supposed to Easter's about chocolate and Jesus.
Yeah,
and I tried. I was really determined with the first Easter Bunny to like not bring in any religious stuff. I thought if we just keep it on like the material items of Easter, you know, like the bright colors or the pastel colors and all that stuff. I said, but let's stay away from like the religious side of it. And so when they did that joke, like, you know, it's about chocolate and Easter, I thought it was just fantastic. So we left it in. But in general, I probably would have not had a Jesus word line in there. And it's not for any real reason, only because I just was trying to keep it all neutral for religion wise. I had no positive or negative against it. It was just that I figured if I kept it all to like the materialistic side of Easter, then that would just be easy access for all audiences. But it didn't make a hell of a deal, and it was funny anyway. So it's
a funny line. It is very funny.
Totally. R-rated movies and all that kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, that was Steve Ferguson, one of the Ferguson brothers, who I've shot with quite a lot. And again, he knows about rhythm. You know, they come up with their own stuff, and so they're pretty good. They're always a joy to have.
Because they're also in both of them are in Bigfoot.
Yeah,
and then you have I guess father son in this one. Oh.
Yeah, there's 4 brothers all together, and one of them I don't think he has been in any of our films, but the other 3 are like they'll mix it up. You know, like which 2 are going to be in the movie or whatever. But yeah, there's reoccurring. They're coming back all the time. Oh, Hot Chicks has one of the brothers in it. You'll see. In fact, I double one of the brothers, and I look nothing like the guy.
So you pulled an Ed Wood with like the Bela Lugosi Dracula dentist thing. So
bad, John. I did it twice in that movie because Kirk
I'm going to be on the lookout for that. Well, and speaking of Kurt, he does one of my probably my second favorite line in there, which deals with the sexy movies. So he says, "All I want to do is stay at home and watch sexy movies," which cracks me up. Right. So the pants and sexy movies always cracks me up. Then we have the big fight that's between, you know, Bigfoot and the Easter Bunny. So I'm guessing Lisa will not be returning unless that's meant to be somebody else in the Easter Bunny suit.
I wouldn't rule anything out. You know, to be honest, I haven't realistically considered a third Easter Bunny film yet.
Gotta make a trilogy.
I'm looking to yeah, I mean, you're right. It's ripe for a trilogy, man. I mean, why not? You know, I mean, it'll sell better too as a trilogy.
Yeah.
But I already have, like I said before, I have 2 other films that were shot and not released that I'm still with. And I have plans for at least 2 other projects going for film. And I'm right now writing a 3rd book, and there's another big deal I can't talk about yet that's already in the works now. So there's quite a lot going on. I haven't really considered a 3rd Easter Bunny film. And truthfully, if we did a 3rd one, I'd have to get a really different approach to it, or at least a really good idea, I think, because I think I've milked this whole the bunny just kills everybody and that's that. There's got to be some drastic change twist that, you know, is mind bending or something like that. So yeah.
Oh, as I'm sure you'll come up with one. You know, it will just boom one day. You'll just like, that's it. Yeah, that's the way it works. Honestly, inspiration comes at the weirdest times, but mostly they hit me either when I'm sleeping or when I'm making another movie, and it'll just be like, "Hey, we should be doing this next," and then, you know, everyone's mostly on board with it. So that's good to hear. And then then at the very end, we get Lloyd Kaufman, just like he was in Bigfoot. He's now at the end of this one. Now this seems a little different. Is this like a different take? Is it what's there is a difference between him and Bigfoot in this one? For sure, yeah, and you're right. It is a different take. When I was shooting with Lloyd, we didn't just go out there and do it once and that was that. We first did it and cut, and I gave him other direction. I said, "Now I want you to ramp it up. I want you to be Lloyd Kaufman. You know, like let's do it more Lloyd. You know, like the faster talking, the higher pace, and the way you talk when you do." And then he was just like on the ball. He did it right away. And you know, so we had multiple takes of the same, you know, I'm Lloyd Kaufman and this and that, and talking about Bigfoot the way he was doing it. Or actually, maybe you will know, is he saying he's Lloyd Kaufman? He does say this in the movie of Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend, right? Yeah, because it's so even in the lower third that it says Lloyd Kaufman. No. And then it says like, like owner of Trauma Films, creator of the Toxic Avenger.
Full credit. Yeah, exactly. Well, you'll know why I'm asking this after you see Hot Chicks, because I recast him. I don't want to say he's in the movie. I don't want to say he's out of the movie, but I recast Lloyd. I sort of did a bit of a recycling trick a little bit. You know, like when the car flips over in Sergeant Kabuki Man. I keep using Lloyd in a recycling way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another thing to look forward to. And then lastly on this, there's in credits. So stay through all the credits on Easter Bunny 2.
Yeah.
And because Jim is back. But now you're directing him. So is this official? Is this like he's officially in the hospital? Or is this just kind of like a blooper thing?
It's more of like a blooper thing. It's an outtake, really. But the deal is, he actually Jim's an old man. He's in his 90s, and he's in pretty good health for it. But he's had a couple heart attacks. So what had happened was he was in the hospital from a heart attack.
Oh no!
And he's okay now. He's still alive. He's doing, you know, he's marching on, I guess I could say, right? He's still there. But so anyway, when he was in the hospital at this time, I went to visit him, and I brought the camera just to bug him, you know. And I said, I'm going to put you in another movie. I mean, you're in a real hospital bed. I got to take advantage of this, you know.
Oh, yeah.
This location, I don't have to pay for it, you know. Like, let's do it. So anyway, I thought, well, this will be great. I'll come down the hall and into the room so you get an idea of what I'm really in a location this time. I'm not like just sitting somewhere with a sheet on us. And then I said, you know, I told him what he should be saying, like Bigfoot did it, or the bunny did it, or whatever I had said. He said it the other way. So of course I'm just saying to him, all right, now say it the other way. say the other way. And I figured at this point, at the end of the movie, why not leave my own line in of me talking and leave it as an open-ended take. And frankly, again, he was in the hospital. He had a heart attack before this. I don't know where the future is. And if this was the last thing we see of him, it's a fitting farewell. I figured, you know, leave it open-ended. Nice. I would do that. But he's still alive. He's good, you know.
That's good.
But that was it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that then. And so 2 questions, and then I'm going to let you go. One, sure. With all of this library, with all your films, with everything that I've shown, what has happened to your career? Where are you at from like the first Easter Bunny movie up to, I guess it would be, you know, Hot Chicks, even though it's old, but it's new. I mean, yeah. Where are you? What's happening with your film career?
Yep. I'll give you the straight as fast as I can for you. You know, graduating film school, top class, getting awards, going from like that high, and then actually sitting on the school board's panel of that program, of being able to have input and hear about how the future of the school was going to handle their own film program. Amazing. It was good stuff. And then I went out and I started making my own movies instantly out of graduation. And I got the feeling that as much success as I had making them, professionally, of course, I became the black sheep. So I stopped going to the film panels and things like this. And I didn't really participate in film festivals and things like that. I just kept making movies because the experience, and that is why I make them, is every film I've made has had such a good experience. It's so much fun to make a movie. It's work, but it's fun. And then to have, you know, something to show for it, to have a final product is a reward unto itself. So I've kept doing that. And the thing was, I kept doing it up till the 5th film, which was Bigfoot Ate My Boyfriend. And that I think of even today as the all-star experience. Everything was perfection. We were on a well-oiled machine working well. And we went immediately from that into Easter Bunny 2, which was almost like a retrospective type of project, because we're looking back at where we started with Easter Bunny 1. That is where I stopped for film, and I said I'm going to focus 100% on the books. And I started writing Analog Nightmares and really spending a full year and a half just getting that finished. And that one came out, big success, and I immediately threw it into a second book, Gift Wrapped and Gutted, which I then contacted Gary, and we started working on producing this other film, the Gift Wrapped and Gutted movie. So I didn't have his hands-on production stuff, and that's why I had other movies that have been shot that sat with me. Then COVID hit, and that is the biggest stall of all, because after I had those 2 books out, like Gift Wrap came out in November of 2019, and 2020, like March, is when we had COVID stuff going on. And I pulled all my ideas. I had already talked to what I thought was going to be the new lead actress. And she's beautiful. She's fantastic. And she's not a professional actor. And I knew she would be great. And I talked to her about being in a movie. I said, listen, I'm serious. We're going to shoot with you next. But then COVID hit and I had to pull back and I just didn't do any productions. And I said to people like, you know, when I feel safer, maybe, but I just can't feel if we got everybody together in a location and shot and somebody got sick, and this was early days, I didn't know how I'd live with myself. I didn't know what would happen. And people were fearing like death at this time, you know, like what, like how bad can it get? I remember seeing people in Walmart with like those hazmat suits on, man.
Oh yeah.
Like they were worried, like they were so worried. Anyway, it's eased a lot, and we have vaccines, and there's that Omicron, which is like the vaccine we didn't make. It sounds like, you know, I mean, things are much better, and life has returned a lot. But in this time, I have just percolated on ideas and focused on writing because writing I can do myself, and filming takes a lot of people. So the writing has been what's been going good and strong. And to be honest with you, I have made more money from the books than I ever did from movies.
Oh,
That doesn't influence me on to say what I want to do, but I know that that's a winning recipe. The books have been really, really strong in sales, and that's good to know. So I've been taking care of my kids. They're 8 and 6. You know, my wife is a teacher, like I say, and she teaches at the school they go to, which is a beautiful thing because now my whole family is at one school and I see them every day. But I am hard now working on a third book, and I'll tell you about it real quick. It's called Wet Shots, Screwball Comedy in Triple X. And it's about comedy in porno, and not just porno from like nowadays and videotape. It's going back to the late 60s and looking at the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and looking at how they made feature films, 35 millimeter films sometimes, with like stories and actors and like top quality performers and with porn. But it's the comedy stuff. It's the stuff that's really, really fun. And I think they could definitely shine a light on it. And Vinegar Syndrome has been putting those releases out. And I applaud them because they've been like kind of a guiding light to me for like to look at certain stuff. And so this book I'm working on now, it's a, you know, it gets to be like monotonous at a while. You really start wondering how much porn can I keep watching every day? But it's beautiful. You get to be pulling out the funniest lines and seeing like really like where they tried stunts, and you could see like, you know, like the wild story ideas. So that is fun to do. But movie wise, I've been dying and itching to get out and shoot again. And I've got a great idea right now, a really fantastic idea. In fact, I bought all the props for it before COVID hit. It was about cockroaches. So I have hundreds of cockroaches. I bought like at least 300 mini life-size cockroaches, rubber cockroaches. I bought medium-sized cockroaches. I bought larger cockroaches. I've got some that are like 4 foot long stuffed cockroaches. I mean, I'm raring to go. I've got the props. I've got everything. But again, I'm thinking. I tried this a couple months ago. I said to my actors, "Who's interested in getting together and really shooting? You know, like it feels like we could get doing this." And 2 were yes. The other 2 were no. And I thought, okay, fine, I'll still put it off. So really the long answer is that I'm dying to go shoot, but I'm holding back because until now, I haven't been feeling that my staff, my crew, cast, all those people were happy, that were comfortable enough to do it. And I think now they are, especially because we would shoot outdoors, you know.
that's good.
The other thing, though, I'll mention, I can't talk about much, is there are some big things happening with my first book, Analog Nightmares, that I'm quite excited about. And I signed a contract, and I can't talk much about anything, but it is really fantastic. It's going to be really fantastic for fans of the book and for the people involved and just anybody who loves shot on video independent movies. I think it's going to be great. Really fantastic. I wish I could tell more, but it's
well, congratulations. So good. Yeah. So that should be interesting.
And it's not just me, it's people involved in it, which is really exciting stuff. So Yeah.
I mean, without you saying anything, it kind of sounds like a documentary, almost like using the people from the book in a doc. Oh no, it's not. I'm totally wrong. Okay,
Well, that's what everyone would guess. That they figure
right.
that's the logical move. And but you know, like you'd have to even if those things like that's an idea I've always thought about too. But there are so many different ways you can navigate that because like you look at the way we've done documentaries like the VHS Lives or nostalgic documentaries, you know, like and all these things, you know, they just came out on DVD or something, and like you say, it's people that talk to the camera and that's about it. But you know, to get down to the deep nitty gritty of something, you know, you got to have the right approach, the right people, the right kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's an option. That is always been something that people have said to me is this could be a documentary, you know. But anyway, I wish I could say more, but it's exciting stuff.
We'll
I'm
know
very
soon
very
enough.
happy to.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
we'll know soon
that's
enough.
right.
So yeah, and then I'll say one thing with the adult stuff to go back to your book is and you might know some of this is LA for a long time it was illegal to shoot like porn in LA. So
Yes.
everything was
Oh,
shot
yeah.
in San Francisco. I'm from San Francisco, like
Yes.
Marin County, the Bay Area.
Oh,
So I went as a kid, I would rent porn when it was out on VHS, and I'd be like, "Oh shit, that was shot right down the street." So when I
yeah,
got
yeah,
old
yeah.
enough, I would go to the bars that the porns were shot in. I would go to the a friend of mine lived right next to the Mitchell brothers, before one of
Oh
them
my God.
shot
That's
the brother.
yeah, yeah.
Drive-ins and movie theaters that were all in LA, I'm sorry, in San Francisco. So it's interesting, to watch some of these films like the Talk to Me Dirty series on how like the
Yeah,
first three were all shot in the Bay Area. And you could just
yeah,
look at the film. Okay, they had sex in that bar. That's right down that street. I'm going to go hang out on that bar.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's so I definitely have an interest in what you're writing because and I even helped a lot of these guys. Like I met up with Jamie Gillis. I used to know John Leslie, Tony Savea.
Really?
I mean, all these guys, they would come into the video store and Jamie Gillis was actually supposed to be in one of my films, but he passed away.
Oh,
And
shit, John, man,
so
I got to talk to you.
yeah, all these people would, they were all living in that area.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, so it was a really interesting place for porn to be,
yeah.
especially when you could just see the actors just walk in and rent movies.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
got one last, oh, go on.
I was going to give you a little tiny of a story.
Sure.
Most of my books, when I write a book, I try to really make it personal. Look back and say, why am I the best person to write this book? For example, what's my backstory? My backstory with porn, I thought is very interesting, and that's when I was the third day of grade 5. So I don't know how are you grade 5, 12? I don't know. I'm not sure, but
So,
third
yeah,
day of
somewhere in there.
something like that. A friend of mine said I found a tape under my parents' dresser, and he says you got to see this tape. And we're 12. Pulls me over to his house, and you figure, well, Jesus, this is gonna be his parents making, having sex on camera or something. But actually, it was a dubbed copy of Taboo 2, and
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
Kate Parker and stuff. Yeah, it's fantastic. So I remember third day of grade 5 watching this. I had never seen like explicit sex before. I thought it was a special effect. Like, where's that dick going? I was like, not to be lewd, but I really was like, I thought it was all special effect. Then I had to understand, like, oh wow, that's actually like they can film that kind of stuff. So it's affected me, but it's not in a bad way. I've always thought of it as like sex is a very fun thing if you know you go into it the right way. And for a long time, I actually talked about openly making a porno. And like, I mean, since even when I was younger, when I was like 19, 18, I wanted to shoot a porno. And my acting teacher at the time, he said, "Listen, why would you want to get involved in that? They have drugs and coercion on set. That's not something you want to be involved." I said, "Imagine," and this was pretty optimistic of me. I said, "Imagine a set where everyone's there because they want to be. They're having fun, and no one's taking advantage of anybody." I said, "There's got to be something like that." And sure enough, I'm seeing a lot of movies that feel that way. I know they're not really, but that is the kind of feeling I think is a lot of fun. So I'm learning a lot by watching these films, by investigating. I'm seeing common faces I didn't think I'd see, and I'm really like taking note of like the filmmakers. And wouldn't you know it? And I see like in some of the exotica stuff, not hardcore. I see like Nick Millard is there, and I'm like, Nick, my God, like, of course you're there, Ben. I knew you shot all that stuff, but now I'm actually watching it. And Nick, that's your old house in San Francisco. My God, you're seeing all this great stuff. And anyway, so it's going to be a really fun book, and I'm lucky enough to take it on. My wife said I should. I wouldn't have done it if she said no. I said, it means I'm going to go through like, I don't know, 250 pornos or something. Okay, you should do it. And I thought, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, if she's giving you, her support, then why not?
Okay,
go for it. Yeah. So, yeah, I look forward to that. So, all right.
You asked me, where do I go today? I know I'm running so late on your show. I'm sorry.
Oh no, please. The longer you are, the more happy I am. I thought I was keeping you. So
I do yak. I'm sorry about that.
That's perfectly fine. I love it.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to saying what's the future of this career? I would still say what career, and I mean that honestly, because I had a day job early on, so I made movies because I loved it, and now I don't have to work at the day job. I quit that a while ago, and I still want to make the movies, but I did make the movies. I want to because now it's hard to just get my cast together and stuff. But the idea of still making movies is like there. I own all the equipment. I own the props. I know what I'm doing. And that's because at film school where I was, they did a very smart thing where they took all the separate actors studying, the filmmakers studying, and the writers studying, but they took all three of us and trained us as producers. And that I thought was the key, because all of a sudden we all knew what we were doing budget wise and in like shot lists and like scheduling and stuff like that, where we could visualize how to make a movie. Because I for years when I was younger, I always knew I wanted to make a movie, but even when I had a camcorder, I was like looking at it going, how would I accomplish this kind of stuff? What would I do? How would I put that together even? And now, I mean, they gave me the tools. I can do it. And the truth is, people who are listening to this, they can do it. They really, really can. And it is simple enough. I mean, if you can shoot 2-3 things and use even free software to put them together, you're practicing that. You're defining what it is you like and don't like, and you're articulating your art right there on the now it's on the computer. When I started film school, we used a Bolex and shot 16 millimeter. So I used a Steam Vac to put some of that cuts together, but now it's all computer stuff. But,
oh yeah.
But in general, I just wanted to say that like, without training even, there's a benefit for just pick up the camera and start going. You don't have to be the best. You don't have to have action. You don't have to have good looking guys and girls or whoever else in your movies, but just try. You can do it.
Yeah. Well, thanks. That's true.
That's something to me. And so I say it as much as I can because it's true.
Well, hey, even the phones these days, some of these phones look better than the actual cameras do. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And your stuff, I noticed it says distributed by Konaki. So we now have a distributor.
Well, the truth is not really, it's distributed by them, but not because it's a person at all. I mean, Konaki is like a print house essentially. But
I use them. Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of independent guys do. They're very easy to use. But a lot of my films, they were signed distribution contracts like SRS or Gatorblade. Even Easter Bunny had a VHS release with Briarwood Entertainment, who was a small outfit. They just did the video run, but all the rights, they expired for me in the same year, but in the same 2 or 3 month span. And I thought some were 5-year deals, some were 3-year deals, but yet they're all expiring at the same time. It was like a miracle. And I thought, what better way to release Hot Chicks than by just hanging on to everything and putting them all out on my own Rickmo line. And that was the idea. And Konaki was the best marketplace to do it. So now they're all at Konaki, and then I'll send you the link if you need it, because they're all available. And they're, I call it cheap peanuts, $10 each, that's it. So,
yeah, you got a good price on those. So that's another reason why I want to pick up the stuff, is because it's affordable,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the new Banging has a lot of new nudity in it too. I was able to cut some stuff in. I shot some fancy footage for another project, and then I thought, hey, these big breasts look pretty good in Banging.
Well, then I'll be rewatching that one too. So
there you go.
Nothing wrong with that one. So
I'll send it to
you. I would love it. Thank you. So now, I feel if I don't bring this up, I'm missing out, because one of the ways that you and I connected was through a certain
Yeah.
movie. And I sent you the soundtrack to that movie that I made because I didn't think
Oh,
anybody
yeah.
else liked this movie. And I went, oh my
Yeah.
God, I found
Yeah.
somebody who likes this film. And that's Blood Lake.
Yeah, Tim
And
Boggs' Blood. Yep.
yeah, and I know that you have more experience with it than I do, but it was
Well,
amazing to find somebody who liked that
yeah.
film as much as I did.
Still my favorite film of all time, no matter what. It's when I'm sick, that's my go-to movie for comfort, you know? I mean, when I put up a projector in my house and we had a 30-foot screen on the wall, it was Blood Lake we watched. I'm not kidding. Yeah, Blood Lake is now loved by a lot of people. It had a wide release. Who put it out? Bleeding Skull was involved, but it was AGFA, right? AGFA? Or am I saying it right? Yeah, AGFA. I am saying it right. And they put,
Okay.
I got a copy. Hold on a sec. There. Birdie. That's my sealed. Oh, it's got some dust on it, but that's sealed right there.
Yeah, there it is. That's it. Yep.
This
I
is
was
my backup. The other one was over there.
yeah, for something that you love that much, you got to have two just in case. And it's
Well, I had
it's,
three, but I gave one away. I gave it to the girl I thought was going to be the lead in a movie. I gave it to her, hoping she would be interested, but I think I scared her off. I don't know.
Then give it back.
But yeah, I keep telling her it's my favorite movie, if that makes a difference. But anyway,
Yeah, I
But
had
the
no
truth is,
idea what it was, and I watched it one day. I think
Yeah.
I saw it on YouTube, and I'm like, "Oh, what is this?"
Oh.
And I watched it and was like, "I love this film. It's so." What's that? Oh, VHS.
yeah, that's the tape right there. Original.
Nice. See, that's why
I
I'm
had
saying
another-
you have more of an experience than I do with it.
Yeah, I had another one that was brand new and sealed, but I had sold it years ago. I wish I still had it, but anyway. But yes, Blood Lake. I don't remember specifically when I first saw it, John. It was just something that as soon as I saw it, it spoke to me. It was like the music came in the beginning, or it was something about that quick kill in the beginning. You know, I just work here, and then that's good enough
I
for
know,
me.
yeah, it just kills him. Yeah,
Something about that, and then the quick cut to the music, Blood Lake title, you know, and the whole thing. And you did send me the soundtrack, which I loved. I listened to it.
yeah. I downloaded the movie from YouTube, and then I just found like some sort of music producer, and I just started
Yeah.
slicing stuff, and I thought it would be fun to do like dialogue, music, that old type
Yeah.
of thing. And
Yeah.
I kind of figured, well, why not just take the whole movie and just kind of cut it up? But this was a smaller version of it. So, and I'm just like, oh, I know Richard would like this. I know that he would want it. And I
I still
sent
have
it
those
to you.
files you sent me. I still have them on the computer.
Nice. I still listen to it from time to time.
Sure, man. And I remember I did find it by renting it on video originally. And that's how I came across it. And then I knew I had to buy it. I bought the sealed one I bought from eBay. I remember that. And it was $17. $17 to buy it sealed brand new.
Nice.
And it was an SP tape. SP, man, not even an EP. It wasn't like the smaller light little tapes. It was a full SP tape sealed. Oh, I'm an idiot for selling it. But anyhow, but yeah, I couldn't believe it. This was years ago. I mean, like 15, 20, closer to 18 years ago or something now. But anyway, yeah, just the love of that movie. This is how the Analog Nightmares book became an idea, was because the love of Blood Lake led me to want to seek out the people involved. And there was nobody talking about Blood Lake. You know, you couldn't find information on anywhere about like the making of it or something, or, you know, there were other actors like Andrea Adams. You would say, yeah, she's also in The Ripper. And, you know, you would see her in other stuff, but it was just like, nobody's talking about it. So I think if I remember right, I came across Andrea Adams. She had written something on either an Amazon review. She said, oh yeah, it's one of the worst movies. And I was in it. Something like that. It was something a little cryptic where like, I was like, who is this that says they're in the movie? And I contacted her and it was Andrea Adams, you know, and she and I hit it off pretty well. It was just on emailing back and forth. And then she said to me, have you talked to Tim? Or Tim would really like to hear this. And I said, Tim Boggs? No, I don't know where to find him, you know. And she says, well, look on Facebook. He's right on Facebook. And sure enough, That's where I found him. And I contacted him, and again, he's probably sitting there dumbfounded, like somebody really loved the movie. Who would remember something from like that long ago from video and be genuinely serious about wanting to ask questions about it? And I was. So and that's where that Analog Nightmares, the first chapter of that book is all detailing how I talked with Tim Boggs, and he was letting me send him questions, and I was hoping to get questions answered, and instead he said, "Do you mind if I take time with this and give you a real answer?" And he wrote 22 pages of like a memoir of the making of that movie.
Oh,
And not
wow.
just the making of Blood Lake, but he started from like his own training in film, his experience in growing up with the love of music, wanting the need to make a movie, and in the post about his feelings of satisfaction or whether it was a satisfying experience, and he told stories involved during the making of stories that have now since come out during the DVD re-release with the commentaries and stuff. But even more things in that are in that commentary. More stuff is in the book, because the 22 pages he sent me, I essentially just put straight in the book. And like he said, that was okay. I said, that's a document. I mean, what you've sent me is just, it's invaluable for the fans that are interested in this. And wouldn't you know it, it was like, it's true. There are other people that love Blood Lake, or they're just rediscovering it now because it's such a fun loving, innocent movie. There's like not a mean streak in the movie at all. And there's so many funny things with like, little Tony saying all this stuff. I mean, it's the reasons we love this movie. So it's just fantastic. And then I was able to get in contact with Doug Barry, who was not only the producer, but the star of the movie. So that was a trip too. These guys are just fantastic. They're nice, super nice guys. And of course, Tim Boggs has a totally different career now, which I'm sure you know too, John. He does sound mixing and stuff like this on with big budget Hollywood productions. He does the recording studio ADR for actors. He's worked on tons of TV shows and movies. Like just I couldn't even name them all, but just The Good Wife. I don't want to go crazy. The Xena movies, the Hercules, TV shows, the Hercules shows. It's all in the book. My mind is losing it, but the book has it all done. And just like, anyway, so I mean, his career is just really on like straight. He's worked with so many legendary actors and had them come in and do, like, he recently, when Meatloaf died, he posted on Facebook about his experience when Meatloaf came in and did a few lines read and stuff like this, and how gracious Meatloaf was to him and things like this. And it is amazing to have these stories now, but for me personally to have a like continuing relationship with someone. And we don't talk every day at all, but we send happy birthdays and this and that, and it's just beautiful. It's fantastic, and they are my heroes. Like Tim Boggs made the greatest movie of all. I figure it's my most favorite film. How much do you love?
Yeah, it's so great that you have such a positive experience, with it, because it could have gone the other way, type of thing. But instead your favorite film is such a positive experience. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. He could have brushed it off or never responded or what have you, or, and it wouldn't have changed the way I feel about much really, but luckily it worked the other way where he embraced it. I think for him, it was an opportunity to explore his own feelings over it. And that was the big theme about what he sent me when he wrote these 22 pages was he for years didn't want to even see it. When it would come up, like a friend's had it, they put it on in the room beside him. They put it on, they say, "Hey, we're watching your movie." And he's like, I didn't even want to see it. I didn't want to hear it. Like every filmmaker has their own experience from making their movie. And you hope it's a good experience. And there's always, though, other things that bug you, that stick in your mind. Like, God, we wish we did this or something, So I know those personal feelings, and I understood it when he sent them, because I said, like, I've made some terrible movies, what I mean?
Oh,
But anyway, long story short, it was just like, I was really, really thankful that he took the time and answered much more than I ever thought he would. And I was just blown away by it. So yeah, it's still my most favorite movie, and enjoyable as hell. So there you go.
Yeah, people go out and definitely check it out. Definitely find it, purchase it. It's a slow burn.
Yeah.
It's not Friday the 13th, where it's just, hack and slash through the whole movie. There are
Yeah.
fairly long scenes of dialogue and things like that. And
Yeah.
my favorite shot is at the very end where the killer is just standing like on the pier
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
dock. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what you would call it. And I think the lake is now empty, that it's like dry. And he's just
Yeah.
staring at it. And it's, oh, that's such a cool shot. So it's go out and,
Yeah.
and check it out. So it's definitely worth watching, but just know that it's a slow burn. It's not action packed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's not video violence. It's not like gore
No.
everywhere. Nothing like that. Yeah.
No, it does have, I think, kind of like a 70s feel to it, that where the films did take more, time to let things happen. It's not like 80s films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
absolutely agree.
yeah. All right, man. Well, thank you. This is amazing. Thank you for hanging out for so long. I appreciate it. I didn't think that we'd get through everything, and we did. This is amazing. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, John. I just wanted to say before we wrap this, if it's
Yeah,
okay,
please.
John, you approached me about doing this show earlier or at the end of last year, even. I mean, at some point in the past. But what had happened to me around Christmas time, Christmas of 2021, is I got a sinus infection, and it somehow went from my nose and sinuses into my ears. So I went deaf for like a
Oh
month. I
yeah.
went deaf.
Ugh.
I can't believe it. And I tell you, it was terrible because I had to like figure out how the hell do I get to go see my doctor. Driving deaf is really like weird. You feel like totally discombobulated. You can't hear other cars. You don't know what's going on. But the thing is, I wanted just to tell you something that was kind of a funny but gross story about that. Like every time at night, I had to put in these eardrops, these steroid eardrops, right into your ear canal to help to get rid of the fluid. Because what it all was a buildup of fluid, and it would just take time to get that fluid out. Gary Whitson, actually, when I said I was going deaf, Gary Whitson, he goes on Facebook and he replies to me, he says, I was in an airplane and it took a month to clear my ear, a month. And I remember writing to him saying, a month, my God, Gary, I don't think so. This is going to be done in like a week at most. And damn shit, it was a whole month, man. I couldn't believe it. It was just incredible. But anyway, these drops at night, you'd lay down and they would leak out of your ear. Yellow, like slime would come out of your ear. In my pillowcases, they had like all this stuff and it would dry at night. So my wife was totally grossed out. She's like, don't touch me, my God. And then we had to put cotton balls in my ear every night. So the thing is, though, we ran out of cotton balls. So I didn't know what to do. I'm like, well, I'm just going to let him just run all over the pillow again. There was no way that's going to happen. So we looked in our old first aid kits and we found some unused tampons as like they were just there. And so my wife was like, hey, listen, why don't you just stick a couple tampons in your head? Well, they don't really fit, right? So I tried. But anyway, so she cuts them for me and we're stuffing the bits in the ears. So I had like these 2 tips of tampons for like a week straight, sticking out of my head, trying to sleep at night. I couldn't hear a thing. Oh man, it was just painful too. It was terrible. I don't recommend it. The only thing that worked was I did get antibiotics to clear up the ear infection, but the fluid stuck around. And that's where like I had to constantly like blow out my ears and stuff, and it never cleared properly. I couldn't hear TV. So I was real thankful you were willing to wait for this interview, John, and it's made the difference, man. I will always remember this interview as I couldn't do it because I had tampons in my deaf ears.
I'm hoping you took pictures.
Oh man, did I? But you've made it so much better, man. Yes, I have the picture.
Good.
I got the picture. I don't miss an opportunity, man. But this has been fantastic and really great. A total pleasure, John. And I really enjoy.
Please, the pleasure is all mine. So
I enjoy
thank you.
chatting and talking, and you've allowed this to happen, man. And I was really sincere that anybody who wants to get involved in making movies, you can do it. And you don't need anything else except the will and maybe a camera.
Yeah.
Just pretend you don't have one at first, but you can do it if you don't have it. And 100%. It's just about the willpower. And I'm sure, John, you'll agree. If anybody wants to reach out and contact us, ask us questions or advice or help, I'm always willing for sure. And I learned that from guys like Ron Bonk, guys like Mark Polonia, that they are available, and so am I. And that's it. The more people we can help, we're going to have more better films, and that's the way it goes, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've reached out to people like Tim Ritter, and he will write me
Yeah.
back a novel.
Oh,
Like
he
I'll do,
does.
yeah. I mean, it's like what a lot of these people are very approachable, and
Oh
don't
my
be
god.
afraid to not do it. Look, I'm a
Yeah.
54-year-old guy. I started my own
Yeah.
YouTube channel. I now do
Yeah.
this through Zoom. Who would think a 54-year-old guy would know how to do all this? And it's just from talking to
Exactly.
people and learning it, and Indie Film Cafe has been a great help to me. And it's like, you can do it if you want to start a YouTube
Yeah.
channel and make videos and do interviews, or if you want to go out and make movies, and you got to start with your phone. There's
Yeah.
YouTube videos where people will say, for $3,000, this is what you can get. And that's how I did it. I found a video.
Really?
The guy's like, here's sound, here's camera, here's lights, here's
Yeah.
a slate, and I think it came to under 3,000 is what I bought. And you
Yeah.
could do it.
Right
You
up.
can. It's
Yeah.
not difficult to do. You just have to do it.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Just
And you
like
even have the
you
local
writing a book,
background.
you know.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. That's true. Writing the book, I had no idea how to really do that. And I can tell you now that the advice I got was good advice, and it came from the weirdest position. I'm sorry, I'm running into another story.
It's fine. You're totally fine.
When I was nearing completion on Analog Nightmares, and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to look for publishers now. I went and contacted publishers because I knew I had other books that I liked what they put out, like Fab Press. That's when I contacted right away. Fab Press's advice, they said to me, they go, we've got a lot of books on the roster right now, so we know this won't come out right away. It's going to be delayed because we got scheduling, right? And they were saying, like, in the beginning, I had all my interviews separate from the movie reviews. You'll understand if you read the book. They're intermixed now. And he said to me, have you thought about the idea of putting the interviews between the movies? I didn't think about that at all. And then I started realizing that they actually fit into time frames, into years. And my God, that's a fantastic answer. And not only that, when I started talking to other guys like Tony Newton, who gave me a whole lead of publishers for the book, they said to me, have you ever thought about self-publishing? And I threw that idea away. I said, nah, you don't want to self-publish a book like this. I mean, that's if you have a smaller book and you don't mind it going out and it's going to be low priced. And I don't know about the quality, but I was guessing it would be slow or bad, not really great. And they said, no. I mean, like, they can really make some top quality release stuff now. And I took this and I thought about it. And the problem with Amazon, for example, was that they would give you a ISBN, your own ISBN, but they own it. So anything you publish with that ISBN is therefore owned by Amazon when they use it. That wasn't going to work at all. I had to keep this in our hands, in my hands, really. I didn't want to give it away. So I went into Canada, and they actually can provide ISBN, the number, to authors if you write them and you talk to the right department. So I did it, and I got it and secured my own ISBN. And then I took that and I brought that into its own print house, into like Create Space or something, where they are just a print house. They print what you give them. And I used my own ISBN, so I retained ownership, but I made all the layout myself, all the pictures, all the way it was laid out. Every film has like 4 or 5 stills from the movie released right after the actual review. And there's pictures of other stuff in there, poster art and boxes, and you'll see it when you look at the book, you'll see it. But the point is, I did that layout, so they didn't have to do a thing. And they're just a print house. They print what I gave them, and they've got my ISBN to do it. So they don't own a damn thing. And I thought, man, that's the way to do it. So if anybody wants to learn from that story, I'm more than willing to explain where it all came from, how it worked out. And it's not just exclusive to Canada. I mean, you guys can, you can get Bokers, I think is the name of it, that generates ISBN in the US. They might have a fee, like it might be $100 or something, but that's, I'm not sure of the dollar amount. But the point is, you can generate and create your own ISBN. And that's fantastic. That's what all authors would need, really. Anyway, enough about that. I know it's sidestepping.
No, that's interesting. That's great to know, because I used to work for Barnes and Noble, and they would do
Yeah.
the like the self-publishing there. So
Yeah, and
we
it's not
decided.
just it's not just going up on Amazon. Then you'd start talking to the Library of Congress and getting your book registered with them, because that then feeds the actual bookstores. Like they'll start showing it in chapters and whatever else. Then all of a sudden, because then your book is on the shelves and worldwide. Like then they can start ordering it too, and that's where you start seeing ways to get your book out there, ways to get your work out there. So anyway, it was
Wow.
a fun journey I did, and I hope none of it goes to waste. I hope somebody else will learn from what the mistakes and the triumphs I had. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. I mean, that's yeah, it's inspirational. So
yeah.
just to know that you
But
could do
anyway,
that.
it's not about movies. But again, John, thank you so much. And
It's
we
part of
have
it.
got you
It's all
off
part
now.
of it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Of course. I mean, it's an absolute, pleasure and joy and honor to have you on. So, it's like I said, bucket list, and you're one of the guys in the bucket list. So
Oh, thank you.
I really appreciate it. So, but all right, so we are going to sign off, and just because I know that your kid wants to, is kid bad to say? Is that bad
No,
to
no,
say?
kid
Your
works.
kid is
Kid works.
okay.
I have
Child.
two. It was my daughter before, and she has come back, but thankfully she stayed away. But I do need to get going, I'm sure. Anyway,
Yeah. She wants a shower or bath, from
she
an
did.
hour ago. So
I think her mom might have given it to her, but I'm not sure. I'll go check. But thank you so much, Sean, and I
of
really
course.
appreciate all the time. And I do yak. I know that, so you could cut
No,
me off.
it's absolutely perfect. I always think, oh my God, I'm going to run out of things to talk about, and it's going to be short. And no, this is perfect. So,
Yeah. Okay.
but okay, everybody, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, Richard, again. And this will be up not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And
Perfect.
I will talk to everybody later. I'll see everybody on the next one. So once again, thank you. And I will talk to
Thank
everybody
you,
later. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
John. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging out after the video. And thank you for watching the very first Dark Park Films sponsored video. And who is that sponsor? Well, I've now learned if I do this with my hands, they go to the right area. There we go. That would be Wildlife Command Center Coffee. And you can purchase it right there. You can go to their website, which is buyWCC.com, and pick up their coffee. They have two blends, which I'm going to show you now. The first coffee is this one right here. This is a breakfast blend. It's 10 ounces, and it is a medium ground. And it does say, and it's breakfast, like I said, and this is what it says right here. It says, early bird can catch the worm. So there you go, a breakfast blend coffee that helps you catch the worm in the morning. And I really like this one. I'm more of a breakfast kind of blend coffee guy in the morning. So this one I really like. It has that little bit of oomph to it to kind of get you moving, get you up and out. And so I really enjoy this one, but that doesn't mean that I don't like the other one, which is this one right here. This is a dark roast. It is also 10 ounces. And both of these are $7.99 at their website. Pretty good price for 10 ounces worth of ground coffee. This one is, it's a little darker. So it's, I think it's better for drinking at night. Maybe if you're, writing a screenplay or if you're filming, this has got that oomph, that double punch to get you going. So this is one that I also recommend. I like both of these quite a bit, but I kind of do, the breakfast in the morning and then the dark more at night. So I recommend both of these quite a bit. And how did I find out about these two, these two coffees here? And how did I find out about Wildlife Command Center? Well, when I was working on Night of the Zomghouls, there was a box of coffee that was just sitting there, filled with coffee. And we didn't know what to do with it. Like, whose is this? Who brought it? Why is it here? And so we just kept going to the store and buying coffee. And then one day I said, why don't we just get the coffee out of the box and use that instead of, wasting money on going to Smith's or whatever and picking up coffee. So we did. We did not realize that it was the Wildlife Command Center coffee, and that it, was sponsoring the movie. And it was great coffee. Everybody loved it. And we just went right through it. By the last day of filming, this coffee was gone. And I went and found out, about Wildlife Command Center, asked if they would like to be a sponsor for Dark Park Films, for their coffee. As many of you know, I love coffee. I love coffee mugs. And so this was a perfect match. And Wildlife Command Center is great with animals. So they provide a great service for rescuing animals. So it's kind of that double whammy for me, where coffee, helping animals, you can't go wrong. And they were even cool enough to send me, get in there, a coffee mug, because they knew that I liked coffee mugs. And right now, I don't get that. A little bit. I'm going to go on the keyboard, but that's their dark blend, because I'm recording this at night. So I am actually drinking that while recording. Also, one thing that you can get at their website, which is cool, is you can get this. There you go. This pocket knife, which is $9.49. And this is pretty cool because it has their name on it. Wildlife Command Center, we can catch it. And this is what it looks like. Put that down there. There we go. Fully out. So you're getting like the bottle opener, you got the corkscrew, you got a screwdriver, you got a blade, and then you got this little hook thing that you could pop it into something that doesn't have a tab, and then the liquid or whatever in there will come out. So this is pretty cool. And I'm just going to keep mine in my car, because you never know. You might need a pocket knife. So please support them. I'm going to have links down below, where you can, check out just the Wildlife Command Center. I'll also have a link for Wildlife Command Center coffee. And it will basically be for both these guys right here. And please support them. I support them. I think what they do is pretty awesome. And maybe this coffee will be on your set or in your kitchen. It will definitely be, on my set in my kitchen. I know that. So please, once again, I'm going to show you these. Please go to their website and pick up their coffee and make it part of your day or night, depending on which one you like. So that'll be about it. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, so thank you. And once again, please support my channel. Please support the Wildlife Command Center, and I will catch you later. Bye.